All right, welcome to What Are You Playing with your host, Derek. I have no idea what the episode is. I'm going to guess it's 10. I swear I did 9 last time I recorded, but I honestly don't know, and it doesn't matter. But I'm joined here by two guests. Both of them have actually been on before, but not together. So welcome, Gaston and Kyle. How you guys doing?
Hello. I'm very excited to be on with Gaston today, that's for sure. You as well, Derek, but especially Gaston.
Yeah, well, you've been on a few shows with me in the past.
We've been on shows together before. Yeah, this is a
So,
treat. We've only played Helldivers together, so that's always nice to get on board with them.
so now you get Gaston. I think last time you were on Gaston, I threatened to block you and never allow you on. Yet here you are. So,
You never got
I only let you on for your PS5 Pro hate. That's it. I only allow people who hate PS5 Pro.
I have the agenda right here, and it just says hate PlayStation 5 Pro. This is what Derek sent to me in an email, because that's what we do. We email each other.
Yeah, I need to change the name of my show to "What Are You Playing?" It needs to be changed to PS5 Pro Hate. That's it.
Yeah.
Because I don't even want to talk about games anymore. I just want to hate on that stupid console.
All
right.
Texting me saying,
Huh?
who you want to say? Well, I have Kyle. I want to talk about Space Marine 2. And then this new drop. I'm like, oh, we got to talk shit about
I
this.
know, yeah. I don't even care about Space Marine 2 anymore. I just kind of want to talk about the PS5 Pro being a, giant letdown.
We actually can talk about it. We don't have to talk about it too much because we do have a big yeah, we got a big agenda. But before we start bashing everything, let's start off with something a little bit lighthearted. And for those who do actually listen to my show, then they know that the last episode I did it with Jesse and Rudy. And the intent when I recorded with those guys, because we had a big show plan, was to do the game of the year from 2014 through 2023, just your personal picks. And it was supposed to be like a 20-30 minute segment. We ended up talking for over 2 hours to the point where Jesse was messaging me, guys, I got to get off. I got to get it off. And we still had like 3 years left to cover. So I basically told him, you guys need to come back on so we can actually talk about what are you playing and not just your game of the year. So in this one, it should be a little bit quicker because I am just going to share with you guys what my picks are fast. I'm not going to even talk about them. And if you guys just want to share your picks, we'll go back and forth. And if you want to just say a little statement on why you like them, and then
I can get chatty. I'll keep it brief. Yeah.
That's all I'm asking because we have PS5 Pro. We are going to talk about that. I think we should. It's a hot topic, and I think all three of us are interested in it, like as far as talking about it. And then second, then we have a long list of games I personally want to hear what you guys are playing and what your feelings are on those. So, with all that said, let's shoot off 2014. What was your personal pick for game of the year? And let's go with Kyle first.
My pick was Dragon Age Inquisition that year.
That is why Kyle will never get blocked.
Here. Yeah.
That's why he will never get blocked.
That's why I'm here. Yeah. It's a pandering pick. I actually hate that game. No, I love that game. It's absolutely amazing. I think it had in a way the best game that came out that year for me in terms of how I like to play games.
Perfect. Gaston, what you got for us?
I'm kidding because it came out in 2013, but I played on 2014 because it was The Last of Us Remaster.
Okay. Was that your first time playing it?
Yeah, on the PS4. We're like, nice. Fuck it. I should do it there. And
so you really are a Sony pony.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
that's why he brought us here today, is because we're the biggest Sony fans ever.
All right, so sometimes I don't know if it's happening to you, Kyle, as far as what you can hear. Gaston, you are cutting out, so I don't know if you got to move the mic a little bit closer or something like that. Because you'll start talking and then I can't hear you and then I can and then it goes away. So
yeah, it kicks the microphone kicks in third word in. It kind of sounds like.
Apparently, I don't have the Prime headset today.
Nah, that's fine. You sound better right there. So if you position yourself there, for those who didn't hear, you picked The Last of Us, correct?
Remaster, since I didn't play it back when it came out on PS3.
Okay, perfect. All right, I like that pick. I approve of it. Mine was Dragon Age Inquisitions. People that listen to my show already know that, so I'm just saying them real quick so Kyle and Gaston do if they haven't listened. Let's do 2015, and let's start with Gaston first. What is your game of the year for 2015?
Oh, my favorite is Fallout 4.
Yeah, the first great pick. Great pick.
That'll be quick. That's it.
Okay. Right, we know you love Fallout, so that's a good pick.
You're in good company. I love Fallout, so absolutely.
All right, Kyle, what's your 2015?
It's still one of my favorite games to this day, The Witcher 3. It's
I had a sneaking suspicion.
Absolutely the best. So yeah, absolutely.
Well, great. And I can't get mad at you. And when I revealed mine on the show, it originally was back in 2015. It was The Witcher 3. It has since semi-changed, and what I mean by that is I have broken my own rule and I've forced myself to pick 2 games, and that's Bloodborne and The Witcher 3 are both my game of the year. I'm not going to pick one. It's impossible.
I love it. That's fine.
They're both amazing, and they both do something completely different, so I don't care. Breaking rules. All right, let's do 2016. Let's shoot off with Kyle. What do you got for us?
It's funny you just had a 2-rule thing. I had a 2. I couldn't decide either. I think back in the day it was Uncharted 4. Okay. But today it's Deus Ex: Mankind Divided.
Oh, you were good.
I just like when I think about that game and also what could have been. That game really makes me happy, and I love Prague. I think it's Prague is the city, is the setting. Yes. I love everything about that game. Vibey game, and like the last of kind of its kind in terms of like. I forget what they call them. It's like smart shooters, like a thinking man shooter, if you will. So, So probably Mankind Divided if you're asking me today.
All right. Well, that's an amazing pick. Before I move to Gaston, I did want to just ask, did you ever see I think there's only been one trailer. It just came out like a month or 2 ago at one of the like shows or whatever. But it's a new game that looks a lot like Deus Ex: Mankind Divided, and it literally has Adam Jensen's voice actor doing the lead character.
You got to figure out the name. You got to figure out the name.
I don't know if it's going to be. It's like Biomen or something. I'll have to look it up while Gaston's talking. I don't know if it's going to be good. It's a new IP, but when I saw it and then heard Adam Jensen's voice, the voice actor, I was like, this is freaking Deus Ex. All right, so go ahead, Gaston. What's your 2016?
All right. Mine is honoring Jesse White, which is 2016 Doom.
Nice.
Heck yeah. Doom. But I also want to honor the mention of the multiplayer. Well, kind of fucked up. It was very fun. Very Quake Arena vibe.
Nice. I didn't play a lot of the multiplayer, and I regret that because I know a lot of people who were playing it at the time.
Yeah. It was really good. It's just that the loadout kind of ruined it. But you ignore that part. It's actually pretty good.
I love Doom 2016. I use this term a lot, but up until Space Marine 2, it was the most metal game I'd ever played in my life. Just the actual metal that's going on in the background, all the things that you're doing, the locomotion of the movements in that game. It's the best.
Great pick. I have 0 issues with that one. That is the good Doom game. We will not talk about
and it begins.
We will not talk about the other Doom game. Although I know you're probably going to pick that one, you piece of shit.
Yeah, it's coming up. Come on.
Yeah. All right, let's do 2017. Let's go, Gaston. What's your 2017 picks?
Okay, that's on you because I'm going to start talking. 2017 is no other, the biggest one, the trilogy of all trilogies, Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go.
It's your Metal Gear Solid collection. I wanted to make that my game of the year last year. Yeah.
Gaston, I forgot to tell you, this is a Christian show. We don't cuss. Don't fucking cuss, please.
Shit,
please.
My bad.
Keep your shit together. Plus, you're talking about Crash Bandicoot. That's a kid game. Let's not cuss.
No. Let me have the moment. Not only is it a remake, it's a soft reboot. But they just say, ignore the PS2, let's just go back to the PS1 days. We're back there, the good old days.
Yeah. Is it would you say it's the definitive way to play those games?
Yes and no. Crash 1, yes. Crash 2, you're fine with either version. Crash 3, I prefer more the PS1 days.
Okay, good to know. All right. A little inside scoop there for everybody.
All right, and what do you got for us, Kyle? 2017 was a really good year.
It was a good year, yeah. I think you're really gonna like this one because you're one of the only, 4 people on Earth that I can talk about this game with, and that's Mass Effect Andromeda.
Another good pick.
Such a good game. I don't know what people's problem was with this game, other than it just wasn't the original trilogy. That's the only thing I can piece together. It's just not that. I'm like, yeah, well, the original trilogy is the original trilogy. This is something different.
I was really ready for something different. Yeah,
I really liked everything about this game. I liked the vibe change. I liked the tone change. Everything was different, and I like that about this game.
Yes.
If the first one was like Star Wars, this is like Star Trek. You know what I mean? So.
Oh, it's definitely like Star Trek. Yeah, and what I liked about it was, well, I liked it at the time, but now I'm sad because I'll never discover anything. Is they left you with a lot of like mystery and a lot of hooks for what they obviously were planning. I guarantee they thought there's no way this will bomb. We're Mass Effect. Yeah. We're BioWare and we're Mass Effect. We're definitely going to make a trilogy out of this, and they only got one game out of it. And so I was one of the few games where I was left. Deus Ex would be another one where I was left going, I want more. You had me hooked, and now I don't get more. Great pick though.
Nice.
My only regret on Andromeda is that I kind of wanted my squad mate to die any moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the risk of them dying.
Oh, you mean like the stakes of someone like dying, like Ashley or Caden or yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, the stakes were a little lesser all around, not only in the story but like in those character moments as well. You're right about that. Maybe something that would have been rectified in a sequel if they,
For example, in Mass Effect 1, like Rex can die in a crucial moment, and you're like,
which is crazy because like Rex is the best character in the whole series. So it's like, yeah, how you I imagine that asshole who killed Rex in that moment and went 2 more games Rexless, like.
Yeah. Well, I wanted that like moment, like, man, imagine if the character could just die anymore. Like, I'm like, fuck.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he died the first time in my game and I loaded. I'm like, nope, I'm not living with that one. Nope. Like, and I usually stick with my decisions, but no, I wouldn't live that one down.
Kyle, I just sent you what I believe.
Oh, Neil Berlin. Oh, I didn't know. I'm really pumped for this game. I didn't know that was Adam Jensen. I guess I wasn't. I didn't have my listening ears on.
Pretty sure it's Adam Jensen.
I think I shared this trailer in the group too. I'm very excited for this game.
All right, cool. That's the one I saw, and I was like, oh, Deus Ex. Okay, so mine were, I split this one too. Originally, I didn't split it. Originally, it was Zelda Breath of the Wild, and that one remains, but I split it with Horizon Zero Dawn, and the reason I did that is because I've come back and beat Horizon Zero Dawn 3 or 4 times. I've done that with Andromeda too. Yeah. But I do give the nod to Zero Dawn because I just
celebrate new IPs. Celebrate new IPs always. Yeah.
In the story and the mystery of that game, which by the way they got to play it out a little bit, whereas Andromeda we didn't, was so good. It had me hooked. Plus, I enjoyed everything else. So that was my 2 picks for 2017.
The game rocks. Yeah.
All right, 2018, and we did Gaston first. So let's go Kyle this time.
Everyone has heard me talk about this game enough, so I keep this short. Red Dead Redemption 2, which I honestly think is objectively one of the greatest games of all time. You may not like it, but like just everything that it's doing, it's insane.
I get the complaints, but
I do too. Yeah, when people are like, it's not for me, I'm like, dude, I get it. Yeah, but that's the thing. Everything doesn't have to be for everybody, But like what it's doing is perfection, and if you lock into what it's asking out of you, it's a ride, and it lives rent-free in my brain, and it makes me emotional just thinking about that game. Not even because it's a sad game, it's just like, I don't know, everything about it just mechanically is just so, it's art. So, yeah, that's my pick.
I did come around, granted, 2018 was a rough year for me personally. That's where my life literally started to fall apart. And I think that's what hurt my experience with that game. But then I eventually came around and played it and beat it, and I appreciated it more. So
sometimes it's
great game.
Sometimes the second time around is what something needs,
Oh, I mean, anybody who follows me knows I love to replay games, so I can guarantee you if I ever do play that game, and I do have it downloaded on my PC, so at some point I probably will. Another year, not, right now.
Ready for that 60 FPS patch. That's what I'm waiting for.
Oh, yeah. Rockstar does not most of the time care about doing that crap.
They don't do that.
They just like to re-release it at full price. Yep. But great pick. Gaston, what you got for us for 2018?
I want to honor mention Red Dead 2.
Okay.
Because everything I would say was right. The only difference is, for me, was emotionally sad.
It was for me too. Yeah.
Arthur Morgan is one of my favorite characters. So
good.
When you get to the part,
don't spoil it. Don't spoil it, and stop being a pussy too. Stop getting emotional about games.
It's okay to be emotional, Gaston. We can be emotional buds this episode.
Was Marvel Spider-Man.
Oh, Spider-Man. That's a great pick. Yeah. That's a great pick. That year is crazy.
I was going to say
nuts.
2018 is nuts because my pick is different from you two, and I think you both will agree, or at least Kyle. God of War is my pick.
Yeah.
It's just an amazing game.
That probably was my pick up until like Red Dead came out. I was like, God of War is one of the greatest experiences I've ever played. Also very artistic, very, but
great story, great characters.
Beautiful. Not emotional though.
No, I did not cry at all. Did not get upset at all. All right, so God of War, and that's another one. I don't think it was originally my game of the year, but I came back, played that one 3 times, and I was like, yeah, you know what? It's solidified. It's done. All right, let's go to 2019. Gaston, what do you got for us?
A few weeks ago, I saw Borderlands on theater. I hated it so much. But in 2019, Borderlands 3 came out, and that was my game of the year.
I'm here for that, yeah.
It was
I am definitely here for that after replaying it.
I think
2 months
the 3 of us are like the Gears of War fans in the group, or apologists. I don't know what you would label us, but yeah.
For me, like, the main story, looking it back, is but the DLC stories are way better. And I do recommend the DLC.
The DLCs are all amazing. I don't think there's a bad one in the bunch. Yeah.
No, I really like the Western one.
That one's most people's favorites. I'm very fond of that one too.
Yeah. I like the casino too.
That one's good. Yeah.
I
like the Cthulhu one a lot. That one's very cool. Yeah, very cool monster designs.
That's the only one I don't even think I started.
Oh, you'd love it. It's so good. Yeah.
But I will. I beat the campaign a couple months ago for the second time, like a complete playthrough, and then I wanted to start all the DLC over, and so I jumped into the casino one first, Moxie or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one's good.
All right, Kyle, what do you got for us for 2019? Good pick, by the way, Gaston. I love that game.
Ever the Kojima stan, I had to pick Death Stranding. I have replayed that game like 4 times now. I'm on my 5th time.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I know you're a fanboy for him. I was expecting you maybe to say you beat it once and you just loved it. 4 times. That's cray.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. It's a long game. Yeah, and I just love everything about that game, and I'm very excited for the sequel. And it's just weird, and it's my type of weird. I just love being like, what the fuck is going on here? That's kind of like my vibe,
There's a lot of that, and the weird thing I cannot explain because anybody that knows me, and I know you've talked to me enough, I like Kojima. I'm not a fanboy, so I can be objective and say, or negatively subjective and say, I don't like it. It's stupid. And to me, Death Stranding is not a Derek game. It doesn't have a place. It shouldn't be at all. And yet,
yeah, That's true.
I loved it, and I'm excited for the sequel. I enjoyed the heck out of it.
Which should be more traditionally gamey, it sounds like. So yeah,
I do hope they give me a little bit more.
I think
gameplay.
All of us who like stood up to the weirdness of the first one will get treated, to some better mechanics in the second one, or more traditional mechanics. I don't want to say better. But yeah,
I absolutely
very
love
not a
that
Derek
game.
I would never. We've had this conversation before, but yeah, I would have at the time never guessed it. It would have.
It was such a relaxing game. I have no problem admitting it to anybody who's listening. I played that junk on easy because I didn't want to fall over every 5 seconds, and I just walked the planet. That's all I did.
It's melancholy too, which I like that a
the
game
music,
was brave enough to just be like, this game's kind of a bummer, and like not a lot of games that maybe Last of Us is another good example, but not a lot of games just make you like live the bummer,
Great game. I enjoyed it. 2019, I ended up settling with Sekiro. I'm not a Sekiro fanboy, even though I'm a FromSoft fanboy. It's not my favorite, but objectively, I think it's an amazing game. Subjectively, I have some of my issues with it, but for that year, that was my favorite game. It's the one that stood out the most. Let's move to 2020.
Did you do yours, Gaston? Did you do 2019?
Yeah, he did Borderlands 3.
Oh, it was Borderlands 3. That's the same year. Okay, yeah.
Yep.
I just want to say that I never played Death Stranding, but I'm watching the trailer of 2. I'm like, I'm sure to wait for Kyle to explain it all.
Yeah. Someone told me, it's like, did you understand what's going on in those games? I go, yeah. And they're like, you should make videos about that. I'm like, no thanks. Yeah. It would be like me with like a spider web of yarn, like, things.
I understood like at a high level what was happening. I even nuances get some of the. I get some of the meta stuff, like some of the what I believe Kojima was trying to condemn about certain things like that are in the real world, and he was using it in the game. But if you were to ask me to explain everything, I'd be like, yeah, I don't remember.
Even watching the second one, people are like, "What's going on with those guitars?" I go, "I've got no clue."
Yeah,
but it's cool.
There's a lot of weird stuff in that second trailer. All right, so let's jump to 2020. What do you got for us, Gaston?
Okay, so the year started. We got Doom Eternal, and that was one of the best games I ever played. Then we got The Last of Us Part 2. Not my hook. I did have fun playing it. Okay. But by the end of the year, we got the real Naughty Dog come by, and that was Crash Bandicoot 4. And I'm like, 10. We don't need to go back. That is just one of the best.
I shouldn't be surprised, but I really thought Doom Eternal was a lock. I shouldn't be, but of course I'm not surprised by your actual pick at all.
Most of the year, it was a lock. Then Last of Us Part 2 came. I'm like, it's still Doom. And then Crash 4, I'm like, nah, we're back to happiness.
I mean, I'm angry anyway. If you went with Doom or Crash, I'm still angry. So whatever.
Take Last of Us Part 2.
That's where I would have been like, yeah, all right, Pony. All right, PS5 Pro.
Yeah, it was a no-win situation, it sounded like for you. Yeah.
I think playing as Abby and bashing some falls is the best part of the entire game.
I enjoyed that too.
I do too. Yeah.
Let's go, Kyle. 2020. What do you got?
This is not a revisionist history pick. It's not. Okay. It's Cyberpunk 2077. I loved it then.
Yeah.
I loved it now. I remember being mad on our other podcasts when like y'all left me out in the cold on that game, which I understood because it was a mess for a lot of people. But like,
it was not a mess for me. I played it on PC.
It wasn't for me. Literally,
I had zero issues.
I played PlayStation 4 Pro. Maybe I got a couple crashes, but everything was there. Like, I've heard such horror stories. And 2020 was nuts. Like, it was a nuts year. Like,
well, you're gonna hear when I pick mine.
Maybe it's been in my top 10 favorite video games of all time. Cyberpunk's probably my second favorite video game ever made. Like, legitimately.
Yeah, I know you played a lot. How many times have you finished it?
I'm on 6 for Cyberpunk. Yeah.
So you sound like Cyberpunk sounds like The Last of Us and BioShock Infinite. Both of those games I beat 7 times, and 7 each, and I just absolutely love them. I can play through them anytime. But good pick.
I forgot about Cyberpunk, but I do agree it is in my top 10 of all time.
Which one? Cyberpunk?
Yeah, Gaston and I have had a lot of great conversations in the group about how great Cyberpunk is.
I think Cyberpunk was already great.
Me too. It just got better,
It just got better, which is even crazier that you could take a good/great game
because
and then
all
make
the
it
stuff
better.
Was there. Like the people, like all the Witchery, CD Projekt Redness that were here to play. Like it was all there on day one. They just got to fine tune it, And people who played at 2.0 or whatever, whenever the DLC came out, you got the best version of the game, and good for you for waiting. But I don't have any regrets about my experience with that game.
I like playing both, so I'm with you on that one. Great game. I broke some serious rules here, and I made these changes recently. I now have 3 games for Game of the Year I refuse to pick. The Last of Us Part 2, Final Fantasy VII Remake. If you remember on the podcast, I had a serious issue with you guys loving that game so much.
I do. Yeah, I'm a little shocked about that right now.
But it moved up. I returned to the sender, and I loved it. And then recently, I beat Demon's Souls Remake, and that game's ridiculously good. So I'm putting all 3 of them up there.
Appreciate
you can just pick one. It's The Last of Us Part 2. The other 2 are
And since we all gave Last of Us Part 2 thoughts except me, I will just say I really enjoyed that game. And
it's a really good
game. I think it's great, and I like everything about it, and I wouldn't change literally anything. But that's just me.
I just beat it this year for the 3rd time when it came out on PS5, the remake or whatever of it. And it's still as good as I remember.
I started a new playthrough, and then Yakuza Infinite Wealth came out 2 weeks later, and I was like, well, that's it.
I can understand that, which I still need to have you back on so we can talk that. But I'll wait until I start.
That's my game of the year. Just spoilers. That's my game of the year right now, and it's not even close, and nothing is going to dethrone it except maybe Dragon Age. Except maybe Dragon Age.
Okay, we'll see.
Dragon Dogma.
Say again.
Dragon Dogma 2.
Dragon's Dogma 2 is maybe my second favorite. Yeah.
I did like that one, but I gotta say, just real quick, because like Kyle said, we can get chatty about stuff like this. I was actually a little disappointed compared to the first one. I actually like the first one more.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I think it's more I just liked exploring the world more of the first one. And the second one, I didn't feel like I was exploring as much. It felt like, I know it's not linear. It just felt smaller and linear. So
there was a lot of roads for sure. Yeah,
I'm waiting for
a lot of full roads and stuff.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the DLC, which I know will come, and I imagine it will be a pretty big expansion, and I think I will love it. But overall, gameplay, graphics, I played it on PC. I loved it.
I will say it's a hard game to assuredly pitch to, because I feel like all of it's a little weird. You know what I mean? I feel like the combat can be a little weird. I feel like, and if you're just not gelling with a certain part of it for you, it was the adventuring or the I understand that. I mean, it's a hard game to really pin down in terms of who you think's gonna like it or not.
Yeah, especially for modern audiences, which they'll scream they don't want their hand held, but then when they get a game that doesn't hold their hand and is very, what is it, ambiguous? I don't know if that's the right word. Then they complain about it. So yeah. That's just my thoughts on that. Great game though. We are on 2021. I forgot who did 2020 first. So whoever did it first, the opposite person go and do 2021. Is it you, Gaston?
Is it me? Okay, I forgot. I'm glad you're keeping track, Gaston. Thank you. This is a weird year for me, but after a lot of musing and looking at the list over and over again, it ended up being Resident Evil 8 for me.
Oh, I am not gonna get mad at that pick because I freaking love Village. I think I beat that one 3 times too. Great game.
I liked 7, but the way that I think everybody liked 7, I liked 8. I was like, this is revolutionary. I don't know. There's something about 8 that just really and I like 7 a lot, but 8 really did it for me.
7's really good. I just feel like 8 is balanced better. And what I mean by that is where it's scary, it's super creepy and scary. And where it's actiony, it's super fun and actiony. And it just balances really, really well. So I love Village.
Yeah, like key moments for me was when you first get in the village and all the werewolves like jump you, and I'm like, this is the coolest. And then I won't go into too long here, but the dollhouse, like it was just like
That's all you have to say.
I don't know if there's anything spookier ever.
Did you play the DLC? Did you play the DLC?
Yeah.
With the where you're playing Emma Rose or whatever, I forgot her name. That has a part in it. I won't spoil it, but I'm just like, dude, get me out of here. I don't like this whole section. Okay, so 2021, Gaston, what you got?
Halo Infinite.
Halo Infinite. All right. Great pick.
Unblocked, brother, because that is definitely my game of the year. It's Halo Infinite. And then honorable mention, Deathloop.
Okay,
I don't know if you guys liked it, but Deathloop is a ridiculously good game.
That is on the side of smart shooters that are too smart for dumb Kyle. But I love everything that studio does, and I love the concept of Deathloop. And I've watched many streams of it because I enjoyed watching it more than playing it because I was just too bad at it. So
because you got to.
But there is a lot of when you're watching someone play it too, you're like, oh, like you know what I mean? Like you're learning like how to play. I like that game from a distance for sure.
I understood because I didn't like it at first. I struggled with it.
Yeah.
And then I came back to it and I fell in love with it. So it was just one of those games where the timing was off in the beginning. I think it came out. Did it come out at the launch of the PS5?
I don't remember.
Pretty sure it's a launch game.
Was it a September game, I thought? Why am I remembering fall? No?
I don't know. I could always Google it. I thought it was a launch game.
There's no way to find out. There's no way to know.
Or at least when it launched, it was like a busy season, and I think that's where I struggled with it. But
I remember it getting buried for me too, like because I did like what I played of it, but I was like, it's like Portal, where I'm like, oh, this is really cool, but I'm too dumb, to get this.
I understand. I definitely struggled with it in the beginning. Halo Infinite, though, special game. I feel like it's that game that came out. And this is just my memory of it. Everybody that played it and reviewed it loved it. And then as time went on, people just started shitting on it. I'm like, the game didn't just suddenly turn bad just because you didn't like how they didn't support it or whatever. It's still a great game. The campaign's fun. The open world is awesome. The combat, oh my gosh, it's my favorite first-person shooter. But I already shared that with you guys in the chat. I love that. I love that freaking game.
The problem was it was taking forever to release content, like maps and all that.
Yeah.
And then they just stopped.
Well, it's the sins of the online became the sins of the campaign, and that's not fair. You know what I mean? Like, if you just remove the two, like the campaign of that game is so awesome. It's so fun. And there's bones for a much bigger and better idea if they kept with it, which they might not now. I don't really know what's going on over there. But yeah, I remember. But like, even though there was a lack of like maps and stuff, and Gaston, I know you can maybe speak on this more because you played a little more than I did. Like the multiplayer was still good though, Like I mean, it's still solid.
It like close to Halo 3, but good, like really good.
Yeah.
And I just played like a month ago, and still good. I still love it.
I have a group of friends that play it weekly every time like new stuff hits and whatever, and I always jump in for a match or two, and it feels just as good as it always has because it does have the best shooting. I mean, Derek's right. That's not an opinion.
Yeah. Great pick. All right, let's do 2022. What do we got, Kyle? What is your favorite game?
I hope we synchronized on this, Derek. Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I think something else came out that year that ended up bumping that, but you and I talked very long and hard about this game.
I still stand by it's the best JRPG I've ever played.
It is absolutely one of the greatest JRPGs I've ever played. Might be my favorite. And I think about this game all the time too. And also, since we can't say it's emotional, it's not emotional.
It's not emotional. I will say it does. It has a great emotional ending. Really and I highly, I really mean this, recommend the DLC.
DLC is fantastic.
It's same type of experience. It's amazing. Gaston, what do you got for us for 2022?
Okay, for 2022 was much harder for me. But then I'm like, oh shit, I forgot this came out, and that was Metroid Prime Remastered.
Nice.
And that for me was one of the best Nintendo Switch games I played.
That came out 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Wow.
Remember? Okay. Like it came out and everyone's like, man, we're gonna get Metroid Prime 4 news soon, and then 2 years went by.
We didn't get Jet yet.
It's dropping with that Switch too, man. They got their big IP lined up. It's that one. It's definitely dropping.
It might even be in 4K. Who knows?
Nintendo's still.
Can you imagine if they're like 1080p still? Yeah. Anyway.
I mean, I did get my 4K. People can't see it. My 4K Mario game.
Not Mario. Yeah.
Yeah. Close enough though. It feels like Mario 3D World, and I love it. Okay, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Yes. 2022 for me is Elden Ring because it's Elden Ring. It's amazing. But as Kyle, and I'll echo him, I have it written down. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is next, and then God of War Ragnarok. So those are my two honorable mentions. But Elden Ring is just special. Like, it's amazing.
Which I totally get, man.
Yep. And then this next year is honestly the hardest year for me personally, and I have no problem saying 2023 is the greatest gaming year in my personal opinion for me. There's nothing better, and I've been playing. I'm 45 years old. I've been playing games for 35 to 40 years, probably 40 years, closer to 40 years, and 2023 is the greatest year. So that being said, I think it's you, Gaston. What do you got for us for your game of the year?
I know for a fact that I was so annoying in that year because all I could talk about was Dead Space remake.
You were annoying. You were annoying.
No, you were preaching the appropriate amount.
You were annoying because it's not Resident Evil. That's why.
Jesus Christ of horror video game. Like Dead Space is back and it's flopping sales, so now we're not coming back.
Did the remake flop
that? It did not deliver, I don't think, no. Yeah. Even though it might be the greatest remake of all time.
I was going to say, I completed the Dead Space campaign for the first time through playing remake, and I absolutely loved it. I absolutely loved it. Like, I want more.
It's a perfect video game. I'll say it.
It's really good. Great shooting, great horror, great story, nice twists. It's good.
I do recommend you do New Game Plus so you can unlock a secret ending that's different.
Or the secret ending. Will. I've never gotten the secret ending. Yeah.
You know, I will eventually go back to it. I always do. So that is one I will go back to.
I think you have to collect some fragments in the second playthrough, and you start to notice some different stuff happening.
I know all about it. I YouTubed it. I know what you're talking about. I won't spoil it for other people, but I know what you're talking about. So, Kyle, what's your 2023?
Another one I could have used your backup on in last year's end of the year debates that I got totally shafted on because everybody sucks over there.
Yeah,
it's Baldur's Gate 3. Never ever have I played a game in my entire life like this, and I got a whole group of people online to play 4 players, a whole campaign all the way through. It literally felt like getting together back in the day when I was a teenager and in my early 20s playing D&D together face to face. And I've never laughed so hard while playing a video game just because the antics we got up to. I never cursed out my friends as loud as I did while playing this. You know, like everything about this game is so tailored to making an experience that is so unique to you and all your dumb friends that I'll never forget all like 120 hours of that game. Like I can almost remember every single second of it. Like it was just.
I can too.
It is so absolutely cool. And the fact that they just like flipped off the industry standards about like DLC and like microtransactions like that, like, man, talk about a voice of the people, you know?
Well, I'm with you. That's my game of the year. But that being said, please understand, not just talking to you guys, but the listeners, the next two I'm going to list, that year was a crazy year because I remember playing Final Fantasy 16 and saying, this is the greatest game I've ever played. Playing Tears of the Kingdom and going, this is the greatest game I've ever played.
Same.
And then playing Baldur's Gate 3 and be like, and you topped both of those? This is fucking insane. And to be honest with you, Baldur's Gate 3, while it is my type of game as far as like I love decision making. I love when choices impact not only the relationships of the characters, but the entire world and universe that you're in. Nobody, and I mean this, nobody does it better than that game. There is not a game that does it better than what they do. There's stuff that you do that you think's like minor in chapter 3 or chapter 1, and then by the time you get to chapter 3, you see the huge impact of it and you're like, what? Are you freaking serious? They connected this? Like, I thought this wasn't even a big deal. So that game does it better than anybody. So anyways, my point is all 3 of those games are, I don't care if people think it's overused, masterpieces to me.
They are. I totally
all
agree.
In different ways, but they all do something special that if they were in different years, they would all be my game of the year in different years. They're 3 of my ultimate favorite games.
I call Tears of the Kingdom magical, which is not a term I use for video games very often. And like, that's just what it was to me. And like, I didn't think in a million years anything was going to come out and like make me think otherwise. But then Final Fantasy, like same journey as you, 16 came out and I go, well, this is like my kind of Final Fantasy 16 game. It's a character action game, which is my favorite genre. You know, it is a very adult story. And Baldur's Gate came out and just, I was like, God, what is going on this year?
Yeah, Baldur's Gate 3 is it, but I just wanted to say one last thing, and then we're moving on to talking PS5 Pro and then games that we're playing, and that is one of the reasons I really love Baldur's Gate 3, and I know it's bigger and better than the game I'm gonna say, but it gives me the nostalgia and that vibe of Knights of the Old Republic and the way it made me feel why I play those games. And coder games are extremely special to me, and that's why I am still to this day, don't care, a BioWare fanboy.
Same.
They make my type of games. That's it. Bottom line. So awesome lists, guys. I mean, I know I was hovering a little bit on you, Gaston, blocking you and deleting you off this call. But overall, Kyle has amazing picks. I'll give you a 7.5 out of 10. 7.5 out of 10.
So
give me some credit.
Give me some credit. I give you credit. Great list, Gaston. I thought it was great.
All right, so let's get to what we're here for, and that's PS5 Pro drama. Let's set up the conversation, and then I'm going to let you guys spew out what you think. For those who are unaware, and I don't see how, if you're listening to the show, you've got to be into games, and I don't see how you wouldn't know that this exists. But Sony announced in a 9-minute video their new PlayStation 5, it's PS5 Pro, is coming out November 7th for $700. And I think the big drama is, yes, the price is dramatic because a lot of console gamers are kind of geared towards don't go above $500. Like that's kind of, if you've ever studied this in the past, if you go above $500, you're setting yourself up for failure. So not only did they go above 500, they went above it by $200, and then did not include a disk drive or I think it's a $30 stand, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Which is crazy.
So if you were to buy those separate at retail, meaning you didn't buy them scalped, you're going to pay $80 for the disk drive, and you're going to pay, I believe, again, $30 for the stand. So you're already up to $810 without tax.
With no tax.
In the US, of course. And I keep doing this, and I'm like Donald Trump right now. I feel like Donald Trump. But if you're outside of the US, it's actually way more expensive. Like, I feel bad for other countries. Like, we complain probably the most here, but other countries pay way more for things.
Yeah.
And some of them are paying like it's up to like $1,400, and I was like, you've got to be freaking kidding me. You can get a really, really nice PC for $1,400, like high end for $1,400. So absolutely crazy. But before I talk about it anymore, I want to start with you, Kyle. What were your thoughts? First of all, of the 9-minute video? What was going through your head before you found out the pricing and the stuff that was left off? And then give me your thoughts on what your overall thoughts on after the price was revealed and after you found out no disk drive, stand, that type of stuff. So what was your thoughts?
So listen, I think I come from like of many minds on this, like I think that this product is for a particular type of person. Yes. It is your people who are going to buy a Sony product or upgrade every time. It's a comparable thing to do is people who upgrade their iPhone every iteration. They don't wait for their phone to die. They just next year, next one. And that's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Consumerism is what makes this whole country run. So that's totally fine. But I do think it's only for those people. And I thought that after I heard the price tag, because a $700 jump is pretty high. And my original take is that I don't think the tech that's in there would be that expensive unless they charging an overhead to maximize their profits per unit, which usually you lose money on a console whenever a company makes them. But I guess Digital Foundry, and I haven't watched this video yet, broke all the specs down, and apparently everything that's in there, the price is right, apparently, for everything that's in there.
I will just say, and I won't interject too much. No, there's another guy. Actually, I shared the video with you, and his thoughts were talking about modern day with the specs. He actually thinks that it would come out to about $500, and that he thinks Sony is actually getting $200 off of us.
I wouldn't if I could
think they are.
I could be convinced.
I think they're being shady.
I could be convinced. I really could. I know Digital Foundry has a.
I did watch theirs. It's like an hour.
Yeah, but they have like a pedigree. They're the go-to people to get this type of information. But like my original thought is what you were saying is that they're making a $200 overhead or somewhere in that ballpark range. Maybe it's 100, maybe it's 50. That's still a lot per console. And they're recouping a lot of money that they just lost from stuff like Concord and other things, and they're bleeding money right now. Destiny was a big investment that's not paying off. Not Destiny, Bungie, excuse me. Buying Bungie, which came with Destiny. So I don't know. I feel like there is some truth to that, and I feel like you can get your tinfoil hat on a little bit for it too. And I don't think you'd be too far off. I think $700 is outrageous. I think it reminds me of the PS3 coming out at $600 or something when it first got announced. I think it was
$600. Yeah.
That's insane, and I feel like, I remember them saying like, we can't afford it, get a second job. This is that Sony. We're getting heel Sony right now. We're getting the Sony that's like, eat it, nerds, pay for it or don't, and like some people are going to buy it, which is fine. And other people online were very loud about this being an insane ask for everybody.
And I don't think this is just like a loud minority. Don't get me wrong. I think it's still going to sell well. We might even run into where it
said
sells
all this stuff about the Portal, and the Portal ended up selling great.
Exactly.
So, you know what I mean?
But I do think this is legitimate where there's people that I think would normally just buy it that are like, no,
that's
$700.
Me. I would normally buy it.
I'm taking a stand on this. No, I'm not doing this.
That's me. I would usually upgrade. I upgraded to the PS4 Pro when it was time. I had a 4K TV. I have a nice TV. I have a nice surround sound system. I want to see this new. They have a new way of processing and compressing sound and stuff like that out of this new system. I want all that stuff, but it's just like, do I want it for $200 extra? And that's not what I'm paying. I'm not getting $500 back for my PS5. Like. I will be paying top dollar for this thing with maybe a $200, maybe a $300 trade-in or sale of my PS5, So it's like, it's a big ask, and it's a complicated thing to ask of people in the middle of a season with no exclusives. And I know people are like, oh my God, I'm talking first-party Sony-made exclusives. I'm not talking about Stellar Blade, I'm not talking about that type of stuff, even though I think that those games are great and they're necessary for like being a healthy ecosystem. But like, what is a system needs to be sold by a game.
I agree.
What game is selling this system? What are you buying on November 7th when this comes out? What are you buying with this game? That's new.
Lego Horizon Adventure.
Say again?
Lego
Horizon Event.
And that's going off of what you just said. That's my issue with the 9-minute video. Not to mention bro, the differences, and you guys know I'm a little nerd to this shit, bro. I nerd out at like 8K and 4K, and I know ray tracing, and I know all that stuff. And that's not a flex. It's just what I like. If I could have a dream job outside of being an athlete, a professional athlete, or a rock star, it would be one of those little tech nerds who gets all the free shit from all these companies and just tests them and tells you that you should buy it or not buy it. I love that stuff. But anyways, I'm watching the video, even at 4K, and I'm like, I see subtle differences. But that's me. If somebody doesn't do that stuff, they might be like, what the hell are you selling me? Yeah. You're selling me a $200 more device. You tell me it's 67% more powerful. Where? So I get it.
I think there's some room to be like, hey, I know it's always different when you're right there. You know what I mean?
Oh,
I know there is. And I heard some people who have seen it or whatever. I don't know if journalists got to see it or anything like that, but they were saying it was like, I saw a headline that said it was like putting on glasses for the first time. And if that's true, great.
Good.
But that is not what I saw. It's not what I saw, you know?
Good take. I agree with you, and I will elaborate in a minute, but I want to get Gaston. What's your thoughts? I know you're pre-ordering 2 of them. I know that, but
it's for scalping reasons, not.
aside from that, what's your honest thoughts on it? Kind of break it down how I told Kyle. Like, what were your thoughts as you were watching the video, and then what were your end results after you got all the harsh news of price and all that?
The fuck are you showing me, Cerny? What's the difference?
So you struggled to see the difference as well.
Yeah, like I see, like, okay, so someone in the background Ratchet and Clank looks better.
Yeah.
And then, so it was mostly just that, like, oh, these small details. I'm like, okay, I guess, like, that's cool for me. I don't know, nothing for me to purchase. And as we get closer to the price, then when I like, hold on, 700, and I'm like, wait. I noticed first it would look like it had no disc tray. Like there was no disc option.
Oh, did you zone use? I didn't. I wasn't even thinking about that during the reveal. That's funny that you zoned in on it. Yeah.
What did you say? I didn't hear.
He immediately realized there was no disc tray.
Okay, yeah.
I'm like 700 for the digital console. Oh yeah, it's 2 terabytes. Okay, cool. And then I realized, wait, it doesn't even come with a stand. Like it doesn't even come with a freaking plastic stand to make it.
The stand was the kiss of death for sure.
Yeah, with a big kiss of death. And for me, like, if you're charging 700, you should have the option to have a disc option. You shouldn't tell people cough up 80 extra to get the add-on. What are we, Sega? Are we being like Sega back in the late 80s with a fucking add-on?
Yeah, the 32X or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
That, and that was what I got pissed off. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, are you charging us more and more just to add stuff into it?
Yeah. I have a theory. This is just my theory. I haven't heard this from anybody else, so I didn't take this opinion from anybody else. But I did fall down a deep rabbit hole of research, meaning that video I shared with you guys, that guy was pretty much spot on to me. He had a lot of great insight. If you guys watch it, if you didn't and you're interested, highly recommend watching it because that guy's actually, I forgot his name, but he's made several predictions. In fact, he mentions at the end of his video that he's like, I'm not an enemy of Sony, or I'm not against Sony, but I just want you guys to know that they have come after me legally from all the rumors that I was, or not rumors, but all the leaks that I was sharing.
Oh, okay.
And so they came after him legally, and he's like, it cost me a lot of money to share this stuff. So he's been spot on. That's why they came after him, is he was getting the data and it was accurate. So anyways, that video, I watched that, and then I watched 10 other ones, but I also watched over an hour of Digital Foundry talking about this. Now, none of these people have actually had the PS5 Pro in front of them, but they have given us some speculations based off the data, what they think is like the parallels of what this would be, the power levels of what a graphics card in my PC would be. and it's pretty impressive. So one of them that was mentioned that they think it could be is at the level of an RTX 3070 Ti. If I'm speaking a foreign language to you, that's fine. I'll just say this. Right now, we're in the 40 series, okay? So the way they do it is 4050, 4060, 4070, 4080, 4090. 4090 is your high end, 4050 is your low end. So 4070 is in the middle. A 3070 Ti is in the middle, and the 30 series is when they did ray tracing and DLSS. So it has all those capabilities, and Ti means it's a more powerful version of the 3070. It's not as powerful as the 3080. It's in the middle. Point being is it's pretty powerful.
Yeah, it's how you get 60 frames with ray tracing. It sounds
you got, well, I would say 60 frames at ultra settings at 4K. If you throw ray tracing in it, you're going to drop to 30. So that being said, there was a game in there, Hogwarts, in the trailer that they were showing off the ray tracing. That was at 30 frames per second. And Digital Foundry caught it. They were like, that game's 30 frames per second. So you are still going to play games at 30 frames per second if you flip on ray tracing.
Right.
Okay. Also, PSSR is basically DLSS, so I have no idea if it's going to be good, but if it's anything close to DLSS, guys, you are in for a treat. It's one of my favorite things about PC gaming. I think I've explained this before on shows, but I'll do it real fast for you guys if you don't know. It's just, hey, I want to play this game at 4K. Okay, 4K is pretty heavy on your system. All right, I'm going to turn DLSS on. Okay, that drops the system to reading it as, oh, he's playing at 1080p or 1440p. When reality, it's outputting at 4K still. It's using AI generated pixels. So what that means for you guys is instead of playing this game at native 4K and it only be able to hit 30 frames per second because it's such a heavy game, the system's going, oh, this dude's only playing at 1080p. I can easily hit 60 frames per second. Not a problem. But your eyes are looking at it and going, I see 4K. So it's manipulating you. And it's less taxing on the hardware, and it allows you to enjoy games at higher frames per second while still looking like it's 4K. And when I say it's looking like 4K, we're not talking about PS4 Pro checkerboarding bullshit where you could literally see
or whatever.
Yeah, you could see that it wasn't 4K. I can't tell the difference.
If I can't tell, I don't care how not real it is. If I can't tell, it's real to me.
You won't be able to tell. Trust me. I play it all the time. I always turn DLSS on. I turn it on quality. So again, it matters how good PSSR is because that's their own thing. So anyways, my observation is, I think the system is going to be very powerful and very good. I think you are going to get 4K at 60 frames per second on a ton of games. I think if it is actual legit ray tracing, and there are levels of ray tracing, if it's legit ray tracing that they can do, yeah, you're going to play, if you turn that on, you're going to play at 30 frames per second. I doubt it's going to hit 60 with full-on ray tracing. That being said, so I think it's a good product. I think it's actually worthy of a $700 price tag if they give you the disk drive and they give you the stand.
Yeah.
Because they're nickeling, diming you, that's why I have a problem with Sony. And a lot of this falls on, they know they can get away with it, and here's why. A couple reasons. One, Xbox was supposed to release an Elite console. They canceled it. So Sony now knows we're the only mid-upgrade console on the market. And they also, this is big for advertising, they're the only console now, once this releases, especially when GTA 6 comes out, that they can advertise, not only that they have exclusive content for GTA 6, but they have the most powerful console to run this game, and it will be the best version of the game because you cannot buy this game on PC. You can only play it on either PS5 or Xbox Series X.
Wait a couple years, yeah.
So they already know they have all this shit in the bag, and that's why I think part of the reason why they upped the price. I do not think that this console costs $700 to make. There's no way they would take that big of a risk. I'm sorry, they would never do it. And then the other thing that I wanted to share real quick is, this is just my opinion. This is where I kick in. I think they're being shady, and here's what I mean by that. Gaston mentioned he's like, oh, it's 2 terabytes of SSD. That's good, right? That's great news. I'm happy about that. But here's why they did this. They upgraded the SSD to 2 terabytes to justify charging you $700, and then took out the disk drive. Why would they take out the disk drive? Because they're the only one who manufactures and sells that disk drive. You cannot buy a disk drive from a third-party developer to slap it on your PS5. Therefore, just like Apple, they get
proprietary items.
There you go. They get your $700, and you go, well, Derek, what does that have to do with SSD? Again, remember, if they only gave you 1 terabyte of SSD, they know the numbers. They know a lot of people upgraded their SSD. Who were they buying their SSD from? Not Sony.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. So, because remember, this is Sony who, with the PSP, you have to have like memory that was specifically for that. For the Vita, you had to have like they were a proprietary company for the longest time, much like Apple.
They're doing it again.
This is healed Sony again. Like this is healed PS3 era Sony. Like
they're doing it again. They're just not doing it with SSD. They're going 2 terabytes. That justifies the $700. It's more powerful. You should be happy. Oh, by the way, we took your disk drive away. You got to buy it from us.
Yeah.
What makes it funny? Because my PS5 has 2 terabytes installed.
Mm-hmm. I did that too.
That cost me less than a Pro.
Yes,
that's true. I have like a 2 terabyte one, so I have 3 all in all, and it cost me like $100 on Black Friday or something like that. Like it cost nothing. And it took
the cost dropped significantly because 2 terabytes used to be like over $200.
Yeah,
now
no, I caught this on a hella sell,
Yeah, you can get a really good deal on it. So that's my personal opinion. I'm gonna buy it if it's available. If I can pre-order, I'm pre-ordering it. I love tech. I'm excited for this. I do think it's gonna be good hardware. I don't worry about that. I think Mark Cerny, I do believe he's a corpo, and I believe he exaggerates numbers, just like the NVIDIA guy always exaggerates his numbers. But I think he's going to put out a good product. I
don't think Mike Cerny, he's a corpo, but I don't look at him as slimy or anything like that. So,
no.
Yeah, I think he's hawking an honest product, but like there's some dishonesty under the hood. Like, and it's all the stuff that you were saying.
Exactly. I think it's more Sony perverting it, and I think they're the ones that make the decision on the disk drive, that type of stuff. That's not a Mark Cerny call, I don't believe. Mm-hmm. He's just trying to create the best tech for a reasonable price. I think he's done that. My only issue is what I just shared. I have an issue with, I think they're being slimy, and I think they're doing Apple bullshit. And I think this is why when we get in these console wars and we tear down Xbox, look, you're allowed to love PlayStation more than Xbox. I now love PlayStation more than Xbox, and I wasn't always that way, obviously. I am a Sony fanboy.
I am too, yeah.
Apparently, right?
I'm not in the group apparently, but I am in real life, for sure.
In real life, I prefer
I love
to
Sony,
play on PlayStation if I'm going to play on console. That being said, I need Xbox and I need Nintendo, because if you don't have those two competing, Sony is... It's not even just like personally taking a shot at them. Literally, Xbox would do this too. So would Nintendo.
Yeah.
If they're the only ones running the show, they're going to go they're going to go too far. And
we got to have someone to keep Sony in check. We do.
Yes. Yeah. That's why I wish that
Sony is a PS3 era Sony, and we all hated that. So
I hated it. I really wish there was an Xbox Series X Elite. That probably would have actually been the name, since they have an Elite controller and stuff like that. I really wish that console would exist, just because I don't think Sony would have sold this for $700. They probably would have done the shady shit with the disk drive, but I think they would have had to been cheaper. And anybody that's saying, and I've heard people say this, well, if it would have been $600, I wouldn't have complained. Yes, you would have. Because you wouldn't have known they were thinking $700. So as soon as they announced $600, you've been like, well, why isn't it $500? You're always gonna bitch, guys.
Yeah.
Shut up. Stop acting like
it's a lot of people's like only mode. So
yeah. Oh, if it would have been $600, no, you would have asked why wouldn't it be $500? And those who don't know, just a comparison, because Kyle mentioned he bought a PS4 Pro, so did I. That was $400 at launch. PS4 Pro was $400 at launch. The PS4 base version was $400 at its launch. When the PS4 Pro came out, the base version had dropped to $300, making the Pro only $100 more. That's a steal, bro.
That's a steal. Dude, I would be buying this day one. I'd be stabbing people in line to get a pre-order, like if that were the case. But it's just that's not the world we live in right now. So
not anymore. But that was a great deal back then. Now I don't think I'm getting a good deal. That's if I get it. If scalpers get it and I choose to give into it, which I don't plan on doing because I have a PC. It's not like I need it.
You're not in dire straits for it.
Yeah, it's more I just really want it, and I'm excited for it. But if I just pay the $700, I still don't feel like I'm. I still feel like I'm getting taken advantage of. But if I pay more, and scalpers are going to ask for no less than $950.
And speaking of scalpers, they're the ones who bought all those disk drives. And if you don't think that that's true, you're an idiot.
They're already online.
I know. That's why I'm so confident in saying that. You know, that is something I looked up before I got on. People already. It's scalpers, guys. You know, so. Let's not act like this is selling out, like, you know, in a real manner, you know?
No, and the other thing is I don't really care about a disk drive. I'm like not angry
I'm all
about
digital,
it.
so it doesn't bother me.
Yeah, I have some discs.
But the practice does. I like it.
Yes, I agree with you. Yeah. But I went ahead yesterday. Just my brain went, Derek, you've got money, right? And you're probably at some point going to say, I wish I had a disk drive. And I know these are going to sell out. So I went ahead and bought it. Just not really wanting to, but just off a whim, I did it. And then the very next day, everybody's like, it's sold out. I'm like, thank God I did it. I am actually glad I did it. I'm not going to open it. I'm going to keep it in the box until I get my PS5 Pro. If I get it, then I'll open it. If I don't get it, I'm just going to return it because I don't need it. It's only bought it just in case.
Thank you for not scalping it. Good on you.
Hell no, I'm not scalping it. I'm going to return it.
The problem.
Nope, I don't need that crap. All right, so great conversation.
Wait, did you have any? Yeah, did you have closing thoughts?
My closing thought is like, we're not calling you stupid for buying it.
No,
we're calling you stupid for defending something that you know is wrong.
Yeah,
it's wrong.
You have to speak up when corporations are doing what they're doing right now. You have to.
Like. You can literally, you don't have to be me, but I'm literally, you can tell I'm saying I support it. Here's all my objective and subjective reasons why I think it's bullshit still.
And it's so easy for me to like listen to you and trust you when you're talking about what you feel, but also recognizing the facts of the situation as well. You know what I mean? So we might not agree on something, but like when you're like, yeah, but I see it, it makes me trust you more. You know what I mean? Don't be a corpo stooge. Don't be that.
Hey guys, you should really like it because it's Sony.
I get it, Derek, because he always protects. He always there for day one.
Yeah.
But like, for most people, like, do you really need it? Do you really need it? Because some people may have still TV that may not be compatible or might not be like the best TV you need for it.
A lot of people don't upgrade their TVs in the way that maybe Derek and I do either. Yeah, I think there are a lot of stats out there that
I think the numbers are like every 10 years.
Yeah, like people don't upgrade their TVs, you know, very often. You're absolutely right about that, Gaston. Absolutely.
Sorry, go ahead.
My thing is simple that, like, we're not calling you stupid that you're excited that you want to buy it day one. We're calling you stupid because there are some people that are defending it when we're telling you they're scamming us. Let's take a look at it. It's right there. There's no discussion. What are you doing?
And because it's such an expensive console, I wouldn't be surprised if it sells out, and it's not because it's so successful. I wouldn't be surprised if Sony's like, we're not going to make a lot in the beginning. We're going to pull a Nintendo. Let them sell out.
Create set scarcity. Yeah.
Get people to get to the place where they're like, okay, either buy from a scalper or wait for us to release them in a month or two, more product, and then get them going. I want it, and they're more willing.
Well, and they're intending on the scalpers to pick it up to create this false sense of selling out. You know, so now then they'll capitalize on that, going, "Hey guys, we know scalpers are a problem. We're increasing production. Don't worry, this thing you didn't want 2 months ago that you suddenly want." will be available. It's great business. It really is. It's slimy. It's slimy.
Agreed. And I do think I will say this: they're pro scalper. They are pro scalper if they do not have a system in place that allow us, the gamers who are loyal to them, at least the option to buy it. And you say, well, how do they do that?
Steam Deck did it.
They did it before, where you sign up saying you're interested. They send you a link through email, and you have, I think, 24 to 48 hours to respond through your email to buy it. And it can only be your email. So you can't forward it to another person. You cannot buy more than one. It's linked to your email. That's how Sony should do it. If they don't do it, they do not care about scalping. I don't give a shit what they say. They encourage it. Do it the right way. Send us the opportunity. Let us sign up that we want to buy one. Make it through our email, phone number, whatever you want to do.
You have it already. Like you have our PSN that's tied to our email. Yeah. Like you have it
or
already.
PSN, whatever you want to do, and then let us buy it. And if you don't do that, you are even more of a piece of shit, in my opinion. That's my final take.
What's the funny? This is my final take. Yeah, I'll see it in hand. They gave a date for the pre-order. They gave a date. Those scalpers are like already preparing.
You sounded the meal horn. Like what's going on?
That's why I was hoping, because it's 16 days out, that maybe they're gonna have a system.
They didn't explain what the system. There could be a system, and I want to reserve judgment for that. But I'm telling you, I'm with Derek and with Gaston. If 16 comes around and it's a free-for-all battle royale and the Best Buy marketplace, like, I'm over it, dude. I'm not going through that ever again. Like, I hated getting the PS5. I hated the whole process of getting it. And the Xbox. I hate getting both of those was like peeling nails off skin. Like, it was the worst. Like,
the next part was easy. I just called GameStop. Hey, you have a system? Yeah. Okay, I'm coming by.
That's awesome. That's pretty great.
I did get lucky too, but we'll share that story another time. Great conversation. I think we all, the three of us at least, agree. You can like this, but it's still shitty. I don't like how they're doing this. Now let's talk games. Let's start with. I think we should start with a game that all three of us are playing, and so I think we should start with the star of the show, and that's Astro Bot. Gaston, I'm going to give you the floor first. First of all, tell us how excited you were before the game came out. Then tell us what your initial thoughts of it are, and then where you're at. Like, how far are you in the game? Did you beat it? Are you at the end? What's going on?
So, I played Astro Playroom, and I thought it was a wonderful tech demo. Like, one of the best, like, small platformer they gave you for free. Like, shit, I'll pay for it. That was my first reaction. Like, I'll buy for this. And then they come and say, yeah, we're making a full game. So there I am, like, all right. I wasn't going to get it first. I was going to wait for a week to get it because I was busy with other stuff. But I passed by Walmart. I got the copy. I was super excited because it was just more of the tech demo. Just now it's a full game.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically the entire thing. Like, it just did fun, whimsical, cartoony. I'm like, this is not the Sony I've been seeing for so long. Like, this is a PS1 days, and all these levels are like very Mario 3D World, like Derek said, which is, I agree too. It's a great game. I love Mario.
Oh, I love it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, don't think of it as a like Odyssey. Don't think of it like Spyro. It's more like those type of levels. Like, you're in this linear path, but you do got some mobility to move around. And what makes it fun, that each level there's a different gimmick. They give you like these frog's arms, give you the like the weird elephant platformer making. Like, you suck up a juice, and then it's weird to explain it, but you know
it is weird to explain it.
Yeah. And one of my favorite ones is the slow motion. I just love how well it's used, especially for the enemy that he should throw cards at you. You could jump on top of the projectile and hit them. And I'm like, holy shit, you could do that? And I'm only at the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I didn't beat it is because I'm doing 100%.
Oh, nice.
I'm trying to get everything done. And the reason I want to get it all done is I love that you could collect the VIP box. And Kyle knows the one because he mentioned that he found Metal Gear, like was his Solid Snake he met. The same reaction I had, like I'm like, okay, I see where they're going with the VIP.
Just let me say this before you keep going. Don't spoil any like bots that you unlock later.
Okay.
Like I would say after Act 1 or whatever.
Yeah,
the first
Metal Gear's
area.
real early. Yeah, so
Metal Gear's real early, but
there are other ones that shocked me that I don't want to like spoil for anybody. Yeah.
I'm only in the second area, like the second main thing, and so I have plenty of content to go through, and I don't want to be surprised. I want to be surprised.
I'll spoil one only because the one for me is yes, you find tracks and it's early on, and that
he's pretty early.
That made me really happy to see him there. Like, oh, they remember you. Thank God you're here.
Yeah.
There's some VIP pod that will leave you like, oh shit, you're here too. Oh, nice, cool. There's one I know for Kyle that make him happy. I won't say it, but I know he will be happy when you see it.
Oh, I'm excited. Yeah, because I'm excited to see what that is. Yeah, because there's been a lot that have shocked me. Like I'm like, what are you doing here? You know, like it's been really cool.
I'm actually upset that some of them were spoiled, not by you guys, but like just like YouTube in general, like just like showing.
Welcome to the internet.
Certain games, like certain characters from major games that we talked about already in our Game of the Year, and I was like, bro, I would have loved to have just experienced that. Mm-hmm. And I'm not a big spoiler person. I don't whine and cry about crap. I don't care. But I was like, oh, that would have been cool to experience. And I don't know why you guys are just freely sharing it like it's like the first level. It's not. I haven't even gotten to it, so that was a little annoying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's some that I got spoiled that which I didn't see. So like, yeah. I wish I knew that one, like by surprise. But yeah, so the VIP, like one of the collectibles, you collect them and they go back to your hub world, which is like the crash site. And they first, like, they're just standing still. But once you do almost a gotcha machine, you collect a item that makes the character do a cute animation based on the franchise they belong. Like, for example, without spoiling, like, I'll do Crash. You lock Aku Max, and Crash start doing the dance.
Nice.
Oh, okay, cool, yeah.
The same with Metal Gear. I won't say Kyle in case he didn't lock it yet. I'll let him be smiling.
Yeah. I've seen the item associated with him. So yeah.
They're like, it's cool to see which character get what and
it
what
is.
they do. And again, like there's some that like, hey, I can't wait to tell you guys which one it is because you probably smile. And that's the thing. The game is kind of a joyful experience. They're always making you smile.
Oh, it's a smile. It's a smile factory. Yeah.
That's what I love about it is like I can't believe how much like I'm not a Astro Bot fan. Like you talked about how you played the installed version of it.
I think you and I will have similar stories, Derek. Yeah.
I literally played it for like 2 seconds. I was like, I don't give a shit about this game. I don't care. I'm not saying it's bad. I just didn't care. It's
same.
It's not my thing.
I want to make that note clear as well. Yeah.
So I actually downloaded it now because I'm like, all right, I'm kind of a fanboy now. I mean, I'm all in. But I wasn't that excited about that. But as I started playing it with the mindset of like, dude, you love Mario 3D World, Mario Sunshine. You probably will like this game if you give it a shot. And you're getting to play a Mario-style game in 4K.
Yeah.
That's what you've always wanted.
That's Mario levels of like of Nintendo. You know what I mean? Like I think it's on par with that. When you're talking about understanding the hardware, utilizing every piece of tech available in your hardware to like embellish a game, and whether that's the rumbling or the blowing or whatever, you know, like it's all there, and it stinks of Nintendo. And I honestly didn't know Sony was capable of that. I had no idea. I had no idea they had this in them.
I agree with you. All the nostalgia.
What pissed me off so much is like you can do this. You've done it with Little Big Planet back in PS3.
Very true. Yeah.
And stop. So like, what happened? You just make these joyful experience. just because snacks flop doesn't mean you have to stop.
This definitely feels like it's picking up where a Little Big Planet like stopped. You know what I mean? I definitely feel like this is like in remembrance of that, if you will.
And I couldn't get into Little Big Planet games. Even the new one, I bought it, and I
didn't play Adventure. I liked the first one a lot. I don't remember playing much of 2.
I didn't like this PS5 one. I even have it on PC. I think I bought it twice, wanting to like it. So it's not like I didn't try to like it. It didn't grab me like Astro Bot does. And I'm not even just talking about the nostalgia stuff, which does make me smile the entire time, and I absolutely love it. And yes, it plays a factor in me fanboying out for it. But I'm talking about the movements, the challenges, the gameplay, the graphics, the level design. All of that is like Kyle just said. It makes me feel like I'm playing a Nintendo game, and I'm not. I'm playing a PlayStation game.
No one can do Nintendo like Nintendo, and someone's knocking on the door right now. That's crazy. We should celebrate that. You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like they say, like the challenge is there. The main path is kind of easy, but you do unlock side levels that are much harder.
They are.
And those are my favorites because they make you gotta do the one shot, and you gotta do it so perfect. You cannot mess up because you're back at the beginning.
Yeah, very, very, very specific platforming. It really is asking a lot out of you. Yeah.
Those remind me of Crash because they're like, yeah, you gotta do the one. You gotta do the one goal. Don't mess up. And I actually remind me though. That's the moment where it stopped being Mario for me and be more Crash because it's super linear. It's super linear. You just here, there, go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it's kind of like Mario 2D level design, but it's in 3D, meaning it's very linear and it gets challenging as you keep going. Yeah.
And the last thing I would say is let you guys talk. I won't spoil this too, because since Derek is still in the beginning. There are these final levels in each world that are like crossovers. I won't say them much because again, I don't want to spoil it, but it makes you want to revisit the franchise when you play these levels. Because they do so much love to these levels. You're like, holy shit, I kind of want to play a big game now.
Yeah. There are certain levels that like it becomes a game you're familiar with, and like elements of it, you're like, oh my god, this is all like here, and it's shocking, like the links that they go to capture vibes of certain beloved games, in certain levels.
I just want to say this, and I'm not going to look at Gaston so he can't give it away with facial expressions or anything like this. All I want, let me block him, is I want to experience Twisted Metal in this game. That's it. That's all I want. I want to run into somebody from Twisted Metal world. If I get that, this is a 10 out of 10.
Okay, I want that too. So yeah, I want that too, and I don't know the answer to that. So
yes, don't spoil it. I don't want to know. I want to experience it. Kyle, your thoughts. I know you and I you already said it, we're very similar, so I'm interested in getting before the game even released, what were your thoughts? And then as you played it and so on, where are you at in the game as well?
I understood that the tech demo was like special and cool, and I'm always happy to get a free thing in with something. I couldn't be bothered with it. I'm just like, yeah, whatever, like I don't care. Whenever this game trailer got announced, like, and everybody was like so like happy and like I was like, it's fine, guy. I don't understand like what the hype is around this. It's a really dumb mascot. This story gets better, Gaston, I promise. It's a dumb I just don't like it. Everything about it is not Kyle. It's not my vibe. It's not my genre. It's too cutesy, and I wasn't going to get it. And then the reviews came out and I was like, I can't not play a 9. You know what I mean? Like 9's and above.
9.5. Yeah.
Yeah. 9's and above's like, I have to play regardless if it's my genre or not. I'm a gamer, to say that term. I like playing games. I like playing all of them. And if they're really good, I want to play you, and like, that's just kind of my credo, if you will. And so I picked up the game reluctantly because it's Space Marine weekend, which we'll get to later. Yep. And I came from playing Space Marine to start this game, and I'm telling you, I couldn't care about this game for the first couple levels. I'm like, ugh, I want to be chainsawing people up. This is stupid, yada yada. And then the before mentioned Metal Gear Solid thing happened, and I saw that, and like something clicked. I got it. I got what this game was about. It was about being a very happy trip down memory lane. Suddenly, I loved the theme song, which I thought was so annoying when it first started. Go ahead, Gaston. You look at your same thing.
Oh, you say that theme song, like, come on, it's so cute.
It's so cute, dude. I've come around on everything. Everything negative I've said, I've come completely around on. I love the songs in all the levels. I love. There's a tree that raps, like later in a level, and I don't want to go into any more of that. But that is a great level with great mechanics and a jolly song. Everything clicked, and suddenly I loved Astro Bot. Oh my god, he is like Sackboy, where you can dress him up in a wig, and he's suddenly, a different character, or representing a different character, and like I just loved the way that like. We're talking about Sony being in its heel era. This is so babyface, to keep it like wrestling, terminology. This is such a babyface, successful move to be like, hey guys, we remember why you like us. And like, it makes me hopeful that there is a good guy inside of Sony's evil villain right now. I hope that there is, and this, I feel like there's a shining bastion of hope here with this game. I think it's a wonderful game. I think it plays so well. The camera is always where it needs to be, but you can't move it if you need to. But I just feel like all these things that I'm always like mad about in platformers, which is like camera issues and stuff like that, is absent in this game. This game is such a perfect platformer. I may not be the subject matter expert of platformers, but like I know a good game when I'm playing one. And this is a great, fantastic video game that I've gone into like my dude friend groups who only play Call of Duty. I'm like, you guys, y'all got to play this Astro game. Y'all have to. Oh, it looks stupid. I'm like, I know it does, but it will win you over, I promise. And I got 3 people to pick it up who don't play games like this, all the same story. They're like, yeah, you were right, man. This game's amazing. So my journey with this game was a journey. Like I was destined to hate it, and like I'm standing on the mountain of love right now. I think it's absolutely amazing. I'm 3 worlds in. I finished that 3rd level. The specialty level on that one is outstanding. They're all outstanding, but that one totally. I can't wait. And that's the other thing is I pick it up to play a stage, and then I always finish a galaxy. Like I just can't put it down once I pick it up.
Yeah, that's one of the cool things about it is because it's not my cup of tea exactly. Like we all know that's Gaston's cup of tea, like more than a cup of tea. It's freaking bath full of
yeah. He's bathing in the tea. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not mine, and I usually generally get turned off. And in fact, only game I really will buy is Mario. That's a platformer. And you can call it nostalgia or Nintendo, whatever, but I generally enjoy them when I play them, but I don't even always beat them. Like the last one that came out, the 2D one, I got decently far, but I was like, I don't really care. Yeah. I'm more into 3D. This game, whenever I play it, even if I'm getting a little frustrated with stuff because maybe I can't find something because I'm trying to unlock everything. I'm trying to 100% everything, and so if I miss it, like I've played some levels like 3 or 4 times because I won't go and look for like a cheat, like hey, just show me where it's at.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn it, I still cannot find this thing. But I just keep playing the game. Like I just keep moving forward, and you go, well, why aren't you further in the game? It's because I actually haven't been gaming much. I haven't even been playing some of the other games that much. But whenever I game, this is the game I turn on, and when I start it, I'm like, I'll just play a level. I just keep going, and I keep trying to 100%, and I keep replaying levels over and over, trying to find everything.
Go ahead. You have 200 points. You have 200 points. And you play a level, there's like a little house, birdhouse. I don't know if you guys know.
Yeah.
That thing helps you to find the missing boss.
I just used.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I just used the bird. It's just 200 coins, and he'll basically alert you whenever you miss something.
Oh
and
my God,
used him on the last 2 levels that I did to get the last. One was I needed a secret area, and the other one was I needed a character. But yeah, if you've beaten the level, you got to beat the level. If you beat the level and you start it over, you can, for 200 coins, a bird will fly above you, and then he like freaks out when you're getting close to that thing you missed or thing you missed. Yeah,
very user friendly.
Yes, I love it.
To the level, like start the level, and I get 100%. And when I found out about that, I'm like a War 4. I'm like, God damn it, I couldn't make it easier for me.
Yeah, you did it the hard way. Yeah.
Yeah, but to be fair though, even though it could have made it easier for you, this is your type of game. So it's just keeping you in the game longer, and you're getting to experience it more. Now, it'd be one thing if you bought like 100 games a week, like I do. Then you might want to move on faster, but you don't. Like, you just need to stay in it and just keep absorbing it and enjoying it, because this is your type of game. Just soak it in, is what I'm saying.
I have Age of Mythology and Pokemon ready, and I did play a bit of Age of Mythology. Now I'm just like, let me enjoy Astro Bot. Let me enjoy the game a good while. Let me get the platinum, and then I go back to Xbox and I play Age of Mythology and Astro Bot. And Astro Bot is like
undisturbed, undistracted. Yeah.
Yeah. Which those are very contrasting titles, which is good. Playing the same thing and for two different games is more annoying. But yeah, Astro Bot is the surprise of the year for me, because I remember, and I think I shared it with Tim. I was just like, dude, these freaking ponies, because I hate ponies. These freaking ponies are gonna fucking hype this. They're gonna fucking hype this game because they don't have anything. So they're trying to sell me on how great this game is, and they're full of shit. And I really said this. And then I asked them, like, "Are you gonna buy this game? Because I don't want to buy it." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna buy it." And then I kept checking my PS5, and I was kind of getting a little more excited for it. He hadn't bought it, so I just texted him. I was like, I bought it. If you want to send me some money, you can. I'm not being passive aggressive. If you choose not to, I'm not going to get mad. I'm just letting you know I bought it, and I bought the $70 version. After Kyle, like you, after I saw the reviews, I was like, I'm not waiting for Tim. You're either gonna buy it or not, but I'm buying it. And he actually, just so people know, he did send me money. He sent me $35. He didn't need to.
Good guy, Tim.
He's a good guy. And so I started playing it, and I was just like, no, dude. Like, if somebody says this is their game of the year, because I'm very judgmental, I'm not gonna judge you.
Same.
I'm gonna let you have this game. Now, is it gonna be my game of the year? No, it's not gonna be.
No. But it wasn't even like in question for me. I'm like, this is not. I'm gonna roll my eyes if people are even putting this in their top 10. It might make mine this year. It could. Like
I think it will.
It's gonna sneak in. Like it is absolutely it might even be the surprise of the generation for me, where I'm like, dude, I never go 180 on games. Usually I know in my soul when I just don't like something. I was just wrong. I was just wrong about this one. I can't be more upfront about that. I was just absolutely wrong.
I was definitely wrong.
It is definitely my game of the year. So.
I expected that. And like I said, as harsh as I am
in your element right now,
I'm totally okay with it, because it really is. For those listening, if you haven't played it, or you're also like me and Kyle, and you're like, I don't give a shit about that stuff, bro, and I don't have Nintendo nostalgia, totally fine. I respect that. It's actually just, if you just like video games, it's a really good game. Don't have to buy it now. $60, not expensive, but it'll go on sale. Buy it when it's 30 or 40, or wait for it to come on PS Plus, but at least play it if you're a gamer. It's worth it. It nails all the nostalgia feelings that you can get from platformers when you played as a younger kid, while being its own thing and being extremely fresh, and nothing feels like tacked on. Like, I'm getting all this nostalgia from all the games that like all the characters you unlock from games I love, and none of it feels like, well, we had to do this because we have a bad game and we just want people to like it because of this. So it doesn't feel forced on. It feels like organic and fun, and it just adds on to the love that I have for it. And even if, I will say this, even if it didn't have those nostalgic characters, the game is actually that good that I know I would like it.
And I'll back that up by saying, Joseph Ferris, who did It Takes Two, once said that, like, I want to take a page out of Nintendo's book, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit, and make a game where there's no, like, every idea is new. So anything you're experiencing is something you hadn't done before in the game, which It Takes Two is a good example of that. Most Nintendo games are a good example of that. This game abides by that credo. The amount of times I go, look at this, because you're doing something new with the controller, you're doing this or whatever, or you got a new backpack that does something new, or you got new arms that do something new, or you slow down time or turn into a mouse or this and that. Like there is not, maybe like every once in a while you'll get a glove you've seen before or whatever, but now you're using it in a different way. Every idea is new that you're experiencing in this. Cool. And to do that for 50 levels is insane. That's super cool. Like it's such a huge accomplishment from them.
All right, Gaston, last thoughts, and then I'm going to move on because we've been going for a while and we still have a lot of games. So I'm going to move to the next games. Any final thoughts that you want to share?
Final thoughts, I'd say, even if you don't have a nostalgia for Sony or anything, like is a great game. There's a great level design, there's great soundtrack, and it's just, you need to experience. Even if you don't want to pay the money, then play the playroom. It's a free tech demo. It's similar.
Yeah, the tech demo might win you over, yeah.
Very true. All right, so let's move on to another huge release, and another one that I wouldn't say I was very hyped for, because yes, I was interested in Space Marine when it came out on the 360. Never bought it, which is weird. Again, I've shared before, not only with you guys, but even the listeners, like, I buy everything, and I definitely bought everything back in that day, and maybe I did buy it and just don't remember, but I don't think I bought this game, and it's my type of game. Like, I'm a Gears of War dude, and this came before Gears of War, like that whole franchise.
The concept,
yeah, they're the ones that made Gears of War kind of what it is. So it's a Derek style game, but even with that being said, my hype level for Space Marine 2, and maybe it's because I didn't play Space Marine, is, yeah, I'm excited enough that I bought it, and I bought early access. But again, I buy everything. That's not a big thing. But I'm not hyped. But I have so far enjoyed it, but I don't care about me. I'm here for you, Kyle. Give me some background. Give me your background on Space Marine.
Yeah.
So give me your hype level and so on.
I played the tabletop game for years. I had multiple armies. I spent thousands of dollars. That was my hobby as a kid,
Okay.
This series has been around. This whole thing has been around since like 1982 or 1983. It's older than me. Might be about the same age as you, Derek. Like this. Yeah. This is something that has been around for a long time. 40 years of lore and like creating things in this universe.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah, I was excited. I read a lot of the novels. There's like hundreds of novels. You could never read them all unless you just made it your whole life's mission. Wow. It's a lore heavy series, and yeah, we got Gears of War, the aesthetic at least, the big chunky guys and big marine armor with chainsaw swords and big guns and stuff like that. Sure, maybe Space Marines didn't coin that, but like it's been again the 80s of this like kind of look or whatever. And I did play Space Marine, and when Space Marine came out, it did remind me of Gears of War. But this whole entire series credo is that there's no cover in this game. You are the cover. Yeah. You're a Space Marine. You can take it. You just got to keep on pushing forward and taking the pain, dishing out the kills, getting armor saves and stuff like that by being very Bloodborne-y in terms of like aggressive to get some of that health back.
Well, I was gonna say, speaking of Space Marines, and I get that it doesn't play this way at all, but it gives me, playing the little bit I've played of 2, it gives me Doom vibes as far as how aggressive they want me to be, and even like when the enemies start flashing red and then you execute them and stuff like that.
One of dozens of executions. It gives you health back or armor in this case.
Yeah, it gives me like a Doom vibe. 2016
Very much
Doom.
So.
The good Doom.
It may not have oh no. It may not have a lot of the locomotion that Doom has in terms of like you just kind of keep speeding up as you're killing and killing and killing,
Yeah.
But like it is very Doom like or whatever. And that that's great. I like that about the game. That it does have those like glory kills, or those executions or whatever. The Space Marine was really good when it came out. I liked it a lot. It was an unsung hero. People didn't know what Warhammer was back in the day. I don't know why my camera's doing this, but whatever. A lot of people didn't. The franchise wasn't huge. It was still really niche and stuff like that. But the story was really good. It was a MacGuffin story. I'm trying to get the thing to stop the thing, so we can keep on doing the thing. And the story's kind of like that too, but like it's all about the background and the lore. It's about existing in this universe in a very specific point in time over the 40,000 years of lore that they've crafted, you know? And for people like me, they're just name dropping things. They're saying, they're using jargon, all the stuff I understand, all the stuff that's affecting me on a deeper level as a major fan or whatever. But I'm playing with two people who have never even heard of Warhammer. Okay. And they are loving it, and they have played it more than I have. Like, I've introduced a lot of people to this franchise in the group. I know Rob, love talking to Rob. He was very gung-ho about trying out this universe and trying out Space Marine 1. Ended up playing it, ended up liking it a lot.
This is a 100% Rob game. It's
it moved me that he would even listen to me, you know, in terms of like suggesting this game, you know, because it's hard. It's a hard ask, you know, to be like, hey, get into Warhammer, and people are like, I don't know what that is. No thanks. But Space Marine 2 is selling really well. It's breaking records for it's the most sold 40K game ever, you know.
I am not surprised by that. It had so much hype.
Gamescom, when people got their hands on with it, like, people were stirring about this game. Like, this game did everything right. And it is a bygone era video game. And what I mean by that is it feels, and this is not a criticism, it feels like an Xbox 360 era third-person shooter. Which is in my opinion, is the best era of third-person shooter games that you could. I mean, this is the era of Uncharted. You know, that's PS3, PS4, and stuff like that. This is the era where like third-person shooters were really cooking. You know, and it feels like that. It feels like that throwback kind of third-person shooter. And also a bygone era is that there's no battle passes. There's no live service bullshit in this game. You know, it is just a video game that you buy, you have. Yes, there'll be seasons. Yeah, there's a season pass with extra content. I don't mind about that type of stuff. It just, you're not grinding for frivolous cosmetics. You know what I mean? All the cosmetics that you need are in the game, and you're grinding for those right there without spending extra money a month, you know? And I love that. I'm not saying it's Baldur's Gate level of like just respecting the gamer, but it's respecting the gamer in a way that a lot of people aren't right now, you know? And I just love it. I love everything about it. You know, I was most shocked about the PvP being really good. I've been playing that a lot, and I'm not a big PvP guy, you know? I played the most of the campaign co-op. I played all the operations mode, which is kind of like the online co-op mode. It's a story that's taking place alongside the main story. It's fantastic.
Cool.
It's
very
hard.
Had that option.
Yeah, so like you have two campaigns really. You have like the A campaign and like the B campaign, which is like your character that you're like creating and like unlocking cosmetics and making your character look cool. Whereas the main campaign you're playing as like named characters who are also very famous in the lore, you know. And there's a lot of stuff, again, like big reveals, like for me, where I'm just like, oh my god, this chapter of blah 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 is here. That's not going to be everybody's experience, but for people who are into Warhammer, this is for you. If you're into Gears of War, this game is for you. If you're into third-person shooters in any way, shape, or form, this game is for you.
If your name's Henry Cavill, this game.
Yeah, I'm sure he's playing the hell out of this game right now. And my final thought on it is that this game, they have what they call a grim dark setting, which is like hella gothic, it's almost like Demon Souls, like in space. You know, it's a lot of cathedrals and big gaudy looking statues.
Now you're talking.
Yeah. And it's also fantasy because it's like orcs and elves in space. You know, it's just this like mixture of all the coolest things all together to create this really specific look and aesthetic that you can only get here. Yes, you will notice looks or things that are like, this kind of looks like this, or this is gothic or whatever. But like the way that it all melds together in such a seamless like universe, I'm telling you, it's gotta be the best and most crafted sci-fi universe maybe ever made. I'm talking more than Star Wars, more than Star Trek, more than all these other things that have been around forever, because you're talking, you know, almost 40 years of content that they're putting out, like some of these other tentpole franchises in sci-fi.
I didn't know, to be honest with you, and I'm pretty knowledgeable in the gaming industry. As you're sitting here, well, not just gaming industry, but just like this type
nerd
of stuff.
Shit.
Yeah, nerd crap. And you telling me, oh, this has 40 years of history. I'm like, what are you talking about?
A lot of people don't know that. Yeah. I mean, again, this is just like, hey, this is that weird board game I used to play, right? You know, it's a tabletop game, you know, like it is Dungeons and Dragons on steroids. You know what I mean? Like that's what this game is, you know, or it's what this universe is. And I don't know, man, like I just feel like it is a game. It's a video game, and like I don't see anybody not enjoying it. And if for whatever reason you have resistances towards it or whatever, get it on a sale. That's fine, but like you owe it to yourself to chop up bugs with chainsaw swords. You owe it to yourself.
Would you recommend me, because I own the original on PC, I have the anniversary edition. Would you tell me I really think you should play the first one first so you can enjoy the second one more?
I think the first one holds up really well, and I think the story is important because this is a direct sequel to the original game.
Okay.
But I don't think none of my friends have played the original game, and they're not like lost, like it's a pretty simple story. It's just more about like how you're visualizing the story, the execution of it all. So like that's a dealer's choice on you. Like, yeah, do you want the full experience of knowing where this character Titus came from and what his history was, or does it not really matter and you don't mind getting like kind of the background of it via just conversations that are happening naturally in the game? So it's kind of just more of like how much do you want to get out of the story of this game? This game does play better, obviously. It's an 11-year newer game, obviously. So, but they do play similarly. They are a sequel to each other. So,
yeah, I booted up the first one because I bought it on Steam like a month ago, maybe
for like $5 or whatever.
Yeah, they had it on sale, so I bought it, and I played a little bit, and I was like, okay, I had too much to play, so it wasn't because I was like, oh, this is crap. I was like, okay, this is melee Gears. It's definitely more melee than Gears, but
yes, yeah.
But I was like, okay, I could see myself getting into it. So more than likely, knowing my personality, I'm probably gonna play through both of them.
The first game's awesome, man, and like they're totally different. You're fighting orcs in the first game. You're fighting the Tyranids, which are like hive mind bug, monsters or whatever in this game. And shout
out to them. By the way, I'm playing on PC. Shout out to them that I have everything maxed out. I know I have a major PC, but everything maxed out, and there's like a gazillion enemies on a level, and this thing is optimized so good that I'm still hitting 80 plus frames per second. There's no droppage. There's no like, oh crap, bunch of enemies. Now it's gonna drop.
The skyboxes and the backgrounds that you're seeing, those are actual AI enemies coming at you. They're not just painted on, so. Yeah, this game should be running at 20 frames per second with how much stuff is going on.
That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like with how much is going on, as much noise as there is.
Yeah.
Everything's going on around you. Like, I'm in the area, it's real early. Like, I'm not going to spoil anything, but I would say it's after the prologue, when your character, something happens to your character. And I'm in like the first area where they're like, hold off, blah blah blah, so we can bomb the aliens or whatever.
It's like your first it's your first Starship Troopers mission where you're on the wall shooting the bugs,
And there's like 9,000 of them coming at me, and I'm just like, good lord! And then there's explosions everywhere, and there's all your military people are running around, and then I'm sitting there going, oh yeah. At this point, I totally forgot. I'm like, this is a co-op game.
Yeah.
So, like, I could play with buddies. So that's going to be my other question, because you are playing it with buds. How easy is it for you to play it and get the story, or do you feel like it's distracting if people are talking and stuff like that?
So before I answer that, Gaston, I know it looked like you were reacting to something that you were saying. Yeah. What would you have?
How informed mechanic where like all the enemies there with you, and is that like you could see them coming at you, like all of them?
Yeah. So you're seeing them pour in, just like that Starship Troopers scene. Yeah.
Yeah. And so my question, like, does it feel a little bit like are the enemies easy to kill, like followers, like one shot hit?
Yeah. So like there's like your fleet or soldier bugs that are just like they're just red shirts. You're just mowing through them. But then like you'll fight, let's just use the term like an officer or a sergeant or a mini boss or something like that, that puts up a much bigger fight, So and then they'll throw so you'll have a whole bunch of the small guys while fighting big guys. Like it's chaotic constantly. Like there are very few moments of like catching your breath, if you will.
And there's a lot of mechanics. So the game teaches you a lot in the beginning. So this isn't a game that you can start it and then stop it and then come back, in my opinion, because it's kind of overwhelming with how many mechanics are. Here's what I mean by that. Like, as like Kyle was saying, there's a lot of like enemies you can one shot, and there are a lot of them. But while they're fighting you and you're distracted by them, there might be like a bigger enemy like 20 yards away, and you'll see it highlight blue, like a blue like quick screen like notification type thing, that he's jumping at you. And then you have to parry him.
Yeah.
And then you have to do heavy strikes to knock them away, and then it goes into like an auto where you just hit the trigger button to shoot them, and it'll auto shoot them, which will cause them to explode. There's a ton of like mechanics in this game that
it's mechanically heavy, yeah.
And so once you start to get those, and I don't even know if I've seen everything, because again, I'm still super early, but as you start to learn those, you start to get into a flow, and you are dealing with difficult enemies mixed in with easy ones. So it's not just like, where you just swipe your sword and everybody just flies everywhere. It's not one of those, what is it, Mamuso or whatever they call
it's not a
them?
Muso game, but it's Muso levels of characters on screen at once, and it runs way better than a Muso game too, obviously. But oh boy, yeah. But your question was, is it easy to play co-op? For me, co-op is always a difficult thing because I get chatty with my buddies. We're being chatty here now, So it's really easy to just talk over people talking or talk over big moments, stuff like that. So if you don't have that problem, like, sure, like if everyone shuts up while you're playing the game, like you're going to get the story or whatever. I will say when you're playing solo, the game feels pretty easy. When you're playing with 3 people, the game is pretty hard. So like there is a scaling that happens with the game. And like it's fun to play it, by yourself or whatever. But like the amount that the game pushes back with 3 people, I like way more. So like I will say, like if you're looking for a challenge with this game, doesn't have to be that for you. This game can be just your story game where it's just epic, and you're like, boy, I got my Gears fixed because they're taking 18 years to make a new Gears game right now. Like this game is for you, like. But I wouldn't be afraid to play alone. I think it's very fun to play by yourself. But like, boy, it is a great co-op game. It feels throwback in that regards too, because how often do we get high dollar AAA like co-op games with that don't have a live service, kind of like lean to it or whatever. It just feels good to play with a couple buddies, a full campaign. It feels like Halo, in that terms, where you're like staying up and all right, let's just do one more level. Oh, that level lasted an hour and a half. That was crazy. So much crazy stuff happened, and it does have epic moments. It does have those big set piece moments where just like everything is going wrong and things are just falling apart. Like it just has a lot of that stuff. It's just, I don't know. It's a game at 11, man. It's just screaming at you. It's just like, in all the best ways, it's just exciting. It's an exciting video game, and it's exciting to execute things, and it's exciting to share that moment with buddies. It's exciting to scream, I'm dying, I'm dying, I'm dying, help, like all that stuff is all baked into this experience. And I was so hyped for this, talking about like where my hype levels were at. And this game is like totally blowing away all my expectations,
Okay, good.
Absolutely blowing them away.
And you're playing it on PS5 Pro, correct?
Yeah, I'm playing it on the Pro. Yeah. It strangely still only runs at 30 frames, so yeah.
That's crazy. Oh, it does run 30 frames?
No, I think I'm playing it. I'm playing in not fidelity mode, performance. Yeah. Okay. And it's still a sharp looking game. I know some games, like you're playing Final Fantasy like 7 Remake 2, you put it on that like the frame rate mode, and you're like, oh, this game looks awful. It does not have that big of a downgrade, which goes back to your point of like, what magic is running behind here, and how did a studio that no one really knows about crack it? You know what I mean? So many games can't crack like a steady frame rate from a game that's demanding this much out of like your system, and it is demanding.
There's got to be some wizardry they're doing behind the scenes.
I don't understand it. Yeah, I don't understand
it. It's a ton of stuff, but yeah, I'm definitely impressed. I'm super early, and we'll start talking about some other games that I'm playing that kind of keep me away from playing it. It's again not a lack of interest. It's more I have way too much shit is my biggest problem. Gaston, before we move to the next game, did you play Space Marines?
I didn't play Space Marine 1, but 2 is looking amazing. And Kyle convinced me to get it.
You need to get it.
I did it. One of us.
I have a minor question, not a deal breaker, but like, can you wear the helmet for most of the story?
Yes. In I forgot to come back because you asked this before, and I was like, I don't really know. And the second I learned this, I was like, oh, I need to tell Gaston about this. Yes, it just right there in the menu, helmet on, helmet off.
Perfect.
It sounds weird. I find it weird how the entire Space Marine had the helmet, and then one guy decided, nah, fuck it, I'm gonna look my face.
In this game, all your three main characters are helmetless, so like you're at least rolling deep with faces. But like I think whenever you turn that on, I think they all put it on, but I could be wrong about that. And the helmets are a really big deal because in the multiplayer mode, in both PvP and PvE, like you're crafting your own. So like you're piecing together your helmet, you're putting the different things on it. You know, like I know you're a helmet guy, and you're gonna get good helmet customizations out of this game for sure.
Nice.
And then, like you said it perfectly. Like it respects the player because it feels like a 360 game. So like the money value comes with campaign, co-op, and multiplayer, which is like I haven't seen that in a game a long time ago.
Yeah.
And that makes me a little bit more excited. You're like, that's what I want. If I'm gonna give you $70, give me the full package.
Give me the full game.
Well, Absolutely. It sounds like it has like a lot of content, like,
and more's coming. You know what I mean? I don't know how much of that stuff is going to be behind the season pass, paywall or whatever. But like they are not only shocked at the sales that this game is having, they have a year roadmap. You know what I mean? So it's like they're really gonna put a lot of extra 10 or 11 care into this game, which is great.
Awesome. All right, so Space Marine 2 sounds like a real winner. Yes, I think so. I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be a great experience when I finally get to it. I just need 2024 to slow down a little bit.
Calm down a little bit.
So let's shift over real quick and let's talk about Gaston, a game you're playing, Age of Mythology. All right, tell us a little bit about this because I will say I've looked at it, but I'm still kind of ignorant on what it is in general.
It's basically real-time strategy. If you ever play Age of Empire, it's basically that. But this time you're using the mythology of the Greece, Egyptian, Norse mythology. So you do have Vikings, you do have Zeus, you got Thor. And the way I thought it was more like Warcraft 3, but it's not. It's definitely not Warcraft 3. You actually could make a huge army of mythology creatures only if you want.
Okay.
So like I went with Egyptian because I want the fucking crocodile that shoots laser beams out of their head because that sounds cool. And guess what? I made an entire army and sent it to a group of Vikings, like screw you guys, went to the Tower of the Sun. And I'm a big fan of those type of games. Probably they only on PC. I don't play on PC, and they finally making them on console. And now like I
get
to play
pretty cool.
Yeah, and it actually worked well. It worked well on the controller. They did well with the button layout and not confusing. Maybe the first time that you get used to it and slowly understand it. And that's pretty much it. Like you should build your city, you build your army. There is one mechanic that there's like a few mechanics, but the one I like is you could summon a Titan, and that dude could go and rip the city apart. And it take a while to build a Titan, so you have to defend your city. Because once you start doing that, they will attack you. Like, oh fuck no, they're gonna come after you. So you build a Titan, and you basically you sending a nuke to that city. That's basically it. You're sending an eagle Egyptian monster that gonna one shot the building and keep going. And I didn't play much. I did a tutorial, I did some skirmish, and I did a bit of a story. And I'm enjoying it. Like I said, build your city, take your time, and not like Civilization. Don't think of Civilization.
On Xbox Game Pass, correct?
Yeah, no, I bought it.
You bought it though.
Yeah, I want to support. I really want to support the game because I love Age of Empire. I never got to play this spin-off. And people call it one of the best spin-offs. So I'm like, okay, cool.
All right. Sounds like I gotta say, I'm not a real-time strategy guy. In fact, that might be the only style of game that there's not even a single game that I'll play, and I've never been into it. My brother used to love those. That's what he would play on PC all the time. and I was just like, nope, that's not me. Maybe some Century I'll finally break and go, you know what, I want to try that game, but as of now, it's not my bag. Do you like RTSs at all?
I don't. There's another game that I like to talk about how dumb I am. Like those games are a little too I don't know, mechanically heavy or highbrow for me.
Pretty sure Kyle and I are twins. We just don't know
same here. Yeah, it's scary whenever we start talking, and I'm like, yeah, that's same.
I love that too. I don't like that as well. Weird, what the hell is going
on? But I do like. This is another game that I used to look over my friend's shoulder and while he played Warcraft or Starcraft or Age of Empires, and I love those types of games, like watching them when those mechanics make their way over to stuff like Nobunaga's Ambition and like Dynasty Warriors Empires and stuff like that. Like I'm like, oh, I like that. So I know there are things that can get me in the door, but it is a genre that I'm I'll just say scared of. You know what I mean? It feels overwhelming to me. But I did want to ask about this game. Is there like a story mode or like a campaign of some sort?
So like 4 campaigns. Okay. No, 3 actually. 3 campaigns where each tell a different god, a group of gods.
Okay.
And their faction and their battle against certain other civilizations. But I will make it easier for you, Kyle. There's back in this on Steam, you could get a Star Wars version of the game. With Star Wars faction, including the fucking Gungans. If you want to play as Gungan, go at it, my king.
Yeah.
It's on Steam. It's super cheap. I recommend you try that first.
Is it Empire at War? Star Wars Empire. What is it called?
Galactic Battlegrounds.
Oh, I have heard of Battlegrounds. I have heard of this. Okay, yeah.
What is it called?
Is it Star Wars Battlegrounds?
Galactic Battleground.
Galactic Battleground. Okay. Yeah. No, everyone always talks about Empire at War, which is like the everyone always talks about, but I have heard of this one.
So you play that one first to get into Star Wars field, but I know you love Star Wars more.
Yeah.
And you understand the other game, and that one you can make it much easier in that one.
Nice training wheel game. Okay.
Exactly. So it's on Steam. It's very cheap. You get the adventure packs together with the Republic and the Super Battle Droid. So they're like, and that one also has a campaign, so you could enjoy that too.
Okay, sick. Yeah, I might do that. Yeah, because I do like it's this genre that I've always like. I like that, and I even like the stuff like Civilization, where you're like, I'm taxing my people, and I'm doing, I love those mechanics and those ideas. It's just they're packaged into a game series or game genre that just has always seemed just beyond my reach, if you will. But yeah, I have to maybe change my attitude about that.
And they've always, to be fair, they've always been more PC centric. So if you're not a huge PC gamer, you're probably not been introduced to. Yeah. Whereas now, like Gaston said, you're playing on your Xbox Series X. You got Series X. You're playing on your Xbox Series X. It is on Game Pass Ultimate. So another good game that came out on that day one, right? It came out on day one.
It did.
Funny enough, it's an Xbox exclusive, and no one cared about it. Like, all right, cool.
Oh yeah. We like to use that argument for Sony all the time. Oh, it's got so many exclusives years, but the second we need to count third-party, exclusives on Xbox, crickets. Crickets.
Yeah. Somebody posted in another group a meme showing like all of the PlayStation exclusives for this year, and it was mainly like third party, obviously, because there hasn't been a lot of first party.
And Final Fantasy
and then they put Xbox's exclusives, and it was just Hellblade 2, and they left the rest blank. And I'm like, are you an idiot? Are we not counting the endless amount of games that are third-party exclusives?
We do it for Sony.
But you're literally counting Sony's. Like you missed Power World. That wasn't a big game. That one didn't matter.
Yep. I mean, Power World took the world by storm for like a couple months. And Sony was just left with nothing. But no, it's not an exclusive, right?
Yeah, doesn't count.
Same with Dungeon Hinterberger, the indie game. On Xbox.
Oh yeah, I saw you talk about this one.
Yeah.
So no, there is some. I don't know why going with Hellblade.
Well, it ruins the argument that Sony's better, in every way. Whenever you throw real facts at them. So, good job, ponies.
So, you're gonna focus on Astro Bot. Once you finish Astro Bot, then you'll flip over to Age. Or not Age. Is it Age? What did I say? No.
Age of Mythology. Yeah.
Yes, Age of Mythology. You'll switch over to that, and then I've already pre-planned your next purchase. You're gonna buy Space Marines too.
I'll say that for November or like a Black Friday deal.
That's a good.
I was gonna say actually that's actually not a bad idea because in about 2 months it'll definitely drop anywhere from 20 to 30
it will drop, and everything about the game will be better. So, but much like it is for every game.
The game I have next is Astro Bot, which is also a 3D platformer. And that was coming out at the same time with Astro Bot, so I'm like, let me do Astro Bot first, because it's on PS5, and then I'll go back to Xbox and start playing the game.
Yeah.
I do that. I switch
Good to break it up.
Even though I mainly play on PC, I do like to switch and go like to Xbox and PS5. I have like little mini seasons, and also Lenovo Go. I've been using that a lot while I've been playing Persona. For basically, Persona 3 Reloaded is my on-the-go game. Even though I'm not on the go, I'm just laying in my bed.
Mm-hmm.
Or during work. If you guys don't know this, the Lenovo Go is like the Switch. So this is the controller, and I can take them off the handheld, and then I just bought this, or Rob gave me this. This is like a middle piece that I hook them to, and I can play it as a controller. So it's like a tablet, and on my work desk, I have the little Lenovo Go screen tablet, and then I just pick up my controller and start playing it while I'm working. I mean, I'm working.
Yeah,
guys.
sure.
So, anyways, but Persona 3 Reloaded is like my little handheld game, and I have my little mini seasons where I just go from platform to platform to platform. But yeah, definitely keep us up to date in the group on your journey through Age of Mythology. I'm not gonna lie to you, even though I brought you on. It's not a dare game. I'm not gonna give it a chance.
I'll say this. I'm gonna try and make it so you get stuck like a Berlin Wall. Like, you're gonna get stuck here. Good luck with your resources.
Well, at least you're gonna find new and different ways to make it fun. I'm gonna just touch on one game before I then go back to another game that I think at least 2 of us are playing. Well, actually, Gaston, I don't think you've played any of the games, the rest of the games we're gonna play, but you can obviously just chime in whenever. I'm just gonna touch on Visions of Mana real quick. I just want to talk about it because I'm about 3 or 4 hours in. So those who don't know, the Mana games have been around for a long time. They're JRPGs, but they're more action based. This one's the same thing. It's action based. It's got, the party that you go with. You can play them co-op as well, which is pretty cool. That's actually what got me into Secret of Mana back on the Super NES. Is my friend, well, he is my friend, but my cousin bought that game, and he was like, "It's cool. It's co-op." And I wasn't a JRPG dude, but I was willing to play this one because it was co-op, and I had a lot of fun with it. Visions of Mana, the reason I got real excited about this one, because I didn't actually buy any of the other Mana games. Like, I didn't buy, I think it's Trials of Mana. I just recently bought it in my hype for Visions. But the reason I got really excited for Visions is not only does it look way more current and modern, but also and the color palette's really nice. But it's also because it's kind of a semi-open worldish game. It's not that big that you would call it open world, but it's open enough that you can explore and kind of wander around on your journey. And I really, really like the way this game looks, the way it feels. The characters are a little, they're JRPG.
You're gonna say archetypical, maybe.
Yeah, and the story so far is intriguing. There's been times where I'm like, oh, are they gonna question the fact that they're just going to die? Like, and
which
there was
I like that hook. It's very Final Fantasy X. And we're going on this pilgrimage to die to save the world, and I was like, oh, exactly. I like that story hook a lot.
And there is a character that was like, I'm not doing it, and I'm like, thank you. That's a little more realistic. don't get me wrong. There are people, if it's kind of like religions. Like if you believe in your faith, and I'm a man of I believe in Jesus, and I'm a Christian. So there's certain things that I believe that other people would be like, that's crazy, that's stupid. So I get like the whole, if you believe in this, that if you must die to save everybody else in your village, totally makes sense. I got it. But I was thinking they're not going to have anybody give pushback, and I like that I ran into a character that was like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, that is cool.
So, but overall, I just want to say this. I really am enjoying the game. Not super far in, about 3 or 4 hours in, done a couple of boss fights. It's just a fun little actiony RPG game. A little bit over the top characters, but that's kind of what you expect if you buy a game like this.
Yeah, I'd be kind of weirded out if there wasn't,
exactly.
JRPG characters in a JRPG.
It literally follows all the tropes. So if you love those tropes and you're okay with it, this is a game I would recommend. If you're like, I'm not doing that day one, don't do it day one. But it's definitely worth investing in.
This studio closed. This game is definitely going to go on sale.
I know. So, how crazy is that? Like, it literally closed on
we launched the game. You don't have a job anymore.
Yeah, so weird. And it reviewed okay. It's like in the 70s on Metacritic. It's totally fine. But it's a decent game. That's why I wanted to bring it up. I am actually enjoying it way more than I thought I would. Meaning, not that I didn't think I would like it. I'm playing it more than I thought it would with all the games that are out right now. It's one of them that
it's a stacked time right now, and you're choosing that. So I mean, that says something, I think.
Yeah. So I just wanted to bring that up. But let's transition real quick. I have one more, what I consider heavy hitter that I want to hit on last. But before we do that, I want to talk about Test Drive.
Okay.
Kyle, I've only played a little bit, so I'm not going to talk about it. I'm more bringing it up for you to share your thoughts. So again, explain to me your excitement before the game. How is the game? How far in are you? Have you played it a lot, or you've only played a little bit? Give us your thoughts on Test Drive.
So I'm 9 hours in. I've got a good chunk of this game in.
You're definitely a good chunk.
I just preface. I love racing games. I love them.
So do
I always bring up, especially when we're talking about Crash like that, when we're talking about video games. I think racing games are that. I think that like a lot of people's first game on like Nintendo was probably a racing game. Like I feel like it's a genre that's been around forever. It's just easy to like. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but like I know everyone likes a racer. Everyone has a racer that they played that they look back fondly on. I like playing a lot of them. I play racers day in and day out. I just love the genre. Yeah. Is this a genre-defining racing game? No.
No.
Absolutely not. I will say for Test Drive, especially the Unlimited series, it created the Forza Horizon template. So when we talk about like, oh my God, well, Forza Horizon does all this, literally Test Drive did this first,
Yes.
And that's not to take anything away from Forza, because Forza took that and did it better, and they still do it better. I would still say if you want to play a game like this, go play Forza Horizon 5 or 4, depending on the area that you like to look at better. But this has got a lot of character. It looks like an old 360 game, It doesn't look great. Sometimes the cars kind of look like they're skating on ice instead of actually having a physics and touching the ground and stuff like that. But it's got a really cool online component where Horizon likes to simulate that you're playing online. This game is a car MMO. When you load into a community area where everyone's talking in the world chat and stuff like that. It's proximity based, so you're not just hearing constant chatter constantly, But there is a lot of people talking, and these people who are playing this game, this is a niche game. These are diehard Test Drive players. So it's like, I'm with my people, you know what I mean? I like this series. I like these people. It's very easy to get online and just be like, hey, what are you driving today? What are you working on, Hey, do you want to team up and do that together, And it's really easy to get into crews and just like get out there and race together. And it doesn't matter if you get first place or last place or whatever. You're going to get paid. If you're grouped up together, if he won, hey, you won as a team, you know what I mean? So like there's a lot of really cool community aspects to it. And it's just a good time. I really do enjoy it. I like that whenever you win, your customized avatar character that you created and face sculpted and put dumb clothes on does a cool emote and stuff like that. Like it's got a lot of cool character, that like you're not getting out of Forza Horizon game, which again is a better video game.
Yeah.
But I feel like if I kind of said this in the group, like, I don't know if this is for anybody outside test drive fans. I really don't, I think you could get this experience in a better package elsewhere, but I feel like the online component that it does have, especially if you lean into it and play it like an MMO, you group up together to do harder races, so you have a better chance of capturing that win, I think that you could really have a good time with this game, but you are surrendering to the game's faults. You know what I mean? You are not playing the best looking game out there. You're not playing the best feeling game out there. But what I will say, when you upgrade your car, you do feel a difference in the steering and the driving, and that's what I care about.
Which I like.
I want that sense of progression. Hey, I put a new exhaust on my car. I want it to feel like that, And it's got a really cool off-road component too, where it's a lot of off-road races and stuff like that, which I really enjoy. And it's a 1-to-1 Hong Kong map, so every street,
which I like that.
Everything is accounted for. Down the line, you're going to get all of Ibiza, which is an old map from Test Drive 1 or 2. You're going to get that whole map. You're going to take like an airplane to go over there with your cars, and you're going to race over there. So this is a growing community, dare I say, live service adjacent video game. Because it's a constant community that's constantly doing stuff, and I like getting on and doing the dailies. I got to do this race, I got to do that race. I like the grind, I like the progression. The game is not throwing new cars at you. That's not her. Horizon. Whenever you win a race, it's like, here's 20 new cars. And you're like, I might drive 2 of those. Yeah. I like that you have the option to play so many cars, but I like the intimate relationship you have with your car in this game and the way that you're grinding it out. And you're like, okay, I want to do a different type of race. I got to invest in a new car, and money is hard to grind, So when you make that investment, it feels like you actually got something.
Well, that's cool, because you bring up a good point. And don't get me wrong, I do like it in Forza, because I buy like the $100 version.
Yeah,
dude, I'm like a billionaire in those games. Yeah. I have too much money.
It is a power fantasy video. It is a power fantasy racing game for sure.
Yeah. So I like that this game is like, well, at least how you're describing it is like, hey, dude, you're not gonna get overwhelmed with that. You're gonna have kind of like Gran Turismo. I would race in a car for a long time because everything was expensive and upgraded, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually I would be able to buy a nicer car and move
Gran
up a level.
Turismo's climb to being a millionaire in that game has always felt good. That series is really good about being like, this is a simulator. You're broke whenever you start the game.
Yeah.
And you just
accumulate. Was great.
You get to accumulate a garage and you accumulate funds and stuff like that. So I think it may have more in line with, Gran Turismo in that respect, which again, I love that Forza allows you to drive everything that you want to for nothing, but this is not that game. This is a different type of game that it wants you to earn your relationship with your car. And I like that. I like feeling like I'm progressing in a real tangible way. And I might be an apologist for this game. I don't even know. This game's probably sitting at a negative score on Metacritic. I really don't know.
I haven't looked, honestly.
I haven't either. It was getting 7s where I was looking, but I wasn't looking everywhere,
I will only share this. My first experience with it was extremely negative. I don't know if this happened on console, but on Steam, I paid for like early access, but none of us, not just me, none of the players could play. So I went into like the comment section on the store to like read what was going on, because I was trying to figure out. I couldn't even download the game. That's the issue.
That sounds like a PC. Yeah, because I was playing day 1 early access. So
okay.
That sadly sounds like a PC problem. And how could you not hate that experience? How could you not hate that?
And everybody was saying the same thing, and then some people were like, you just got to do this, and I was able to download it, and then many other people would comment like, dude, I did that. It didn't work. So there was a lot of like confusion. Eventually, luckily, I had, again, I think Space Marine 2 had come out and everything. I had other stuff to do. Eventually, I was able to download it and start playing it, and my experience was positive when I started playing it.
Good.
So I am going to play it more. I haven't played it a lot, but I don't think it's ugly on PC. I've got everything maxed out. It looks decent. No, it's not a Forza game, but I never expected it to be Forza.
It is a AA studio. This is like a first-time studio too. Like the original creators of Test Drive Unlimited went on to make The Crew. So like they went on and
totally makes sense.
The Crew is a very big spiritual, like a lot of things about The Crew is like, oh, they got these ideas from Test Drive Unlimited. So this is a first-time crew trying to like do their best copycat version of those games. And like, did they pull it off in the community? It's depending on who you talk to, is depending on the take that you get. But like people who are playing it and stuck with it, people who especially bought early access, those are the diehard fans, and they're in, man. And I'm telling you, they make the community so much more fun when you got people in there who are just loving their time in that game and acting like idiots and driving around like gangs, and it's just cool. I do like that. I do like that it feels like an MMO, like the Crew does in many ways.
Which I did enjoy the first Crew. I never really played the second one much, but the first one, what I liked about it, and this is what everybody was complaining about, is they're like, the driving's terrible. I'm like, yeah, you got to level up the car.
Yeah, their car purposely drives like crap. Yeah, you grind it, and that's kind of like this way for that game too, or that way for this game too.
That's a selling point for me because I like that. I like what you said, where you're like, hey, you start off this way, but as you level up, it gets better. I'm like, all right, cool. I like that. That's my hook on those games, so I will play it more. Speaking of the Crew, I just want to throw this out there for you more, Kyle. The Crew 2 is $1 on all platforms. So if you're at all interested in it,
and it's going, they're preserving it by going all offline. The dev just said that it's like, hey, like we're going to be able to go offline. So when we close these servers down, you can still play this game forever, which is a big deal. Yeah, gaming present. I like that. I actually was subtly blown away by the motorsport, like the newest Crew. I don't think it's as good as 1 or 2, but I was like, I can't believe this is as good as I think. And it's just a Horizon clone.
Yeah,
like,
that's
through
all
and through,
But it's decent.
It's decent.
But yeah, so if anybody's listening, hurry up, grab it. It's $1 on any platform: Xbox, Steam, Epic Game Store, PlayStation. Doesn't matter. $1.
That's awesome.
For the Crew 2. All right, so let's slide over into.
Oh, what's up, Gaston? What?
Yeah.
I got it for $1.
Did you just get it?
Yeah, it's worth it.
Do you like racing games, Gaston? Like, are you a racing game guy at all? Like, not like that you play all of them, but like, have you played some that you've like enjoyed over the years?
I enjoy mostly the mascot racing, like Mario Kart and Crash Team Racing.
Hey, kart racers, they count, man. That counts.
I am enjoying a lot of sports stuff. Lately, I've been enjoying the Horizon and Motorsport. But I like more Horizon.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you like more of the arcade, like arcade a Burnout racer, type game. You would like Burnout games.
Burnout's awesome.
Burnout Paradise is one of the best, like, open world.
That game goes on sale for like nothing all the time too.
Yeah, if you can get the remake one or whatever, the remaster run that came out like 6 years ago, get it. It's so good.
Okay, I love the PC Burnout, but when I try Paradise, I get motion sickness for some reason.
It's those games. Burnout games are real hard to play because they're so freaking fast. Like, I reckon that. Well, the point of the game is to wreck, kind of, but like, I mean, I wreck a lot just because of like how fast it is.
The sense of speed is unparalleled.
Yeah, I will like miss a turn or something like that. I'll be like, dude, come on. But I can see you having that, but it's such a good game. I freaking love that game. Now you're gonna make me download it again.
Yeah.
I got it because of you guys.
Well, tell us what you think of the Crew 2.
Yeah, I do. I would love an update on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's worth at least $1, but I'm only going based off of my experience with the Crew, the first one, and I enjoyed it. And the Crew 2 actually is bigger. Like, there's more stuff. Like, you can fly planes and boats
it's the
and
whole
all that.
United States. It's nuts. Yeah. Go to your favorite city.
Yeah. So $1 is not bad. So I want to talk Star Wars Outlaws.
Oh.
Yeah. So this is actually now. Well, let me say this before we go into Star Wars Outlaw. Star Wars Outlaw is now like my main game now that I've beaten Black Myth Wukong. So I just want to talk about Black Myth Wukong real quick for those interested. I wouldn't say it's got some similarities to Souls games, but it's also still doing enough different that it's one of those games. And Kyle and I have talked about this before. It's a betweener. It's a Stellar Blade where it's not a mirror of FromSoft type games, but it's also not so far away from it that somebody couldn't go, that's a FromSoft game. They're very similar, but there's enough differences. I think it's in between. But this game, Black Myth Wukong, while it has some fights that are very frustrating, for the most part, like if you fight every boss in the game, there's like 91 bosses.
Woo!
It is not a boss rush mode. Let me just first of all state that, because that
people were pitching it as that, yeah.
Which is ridiculous.
There's like levels, right? Like you go through not levels, but like there's
there's levels.
You're not just like fighting, boss after boss after boss.
So the first level, the prologue level, is very linear, but there's still some like minor branching areas, but it's still very, very linear.
Sure.
And they throw a couple of bosses at you that are very challenging because you're just learning the game, and they're not easy. But then as you beat them, you unlock new abilities that are hidden behind them, that help you for the rest of the game and that are with you for the rest of the game. But then once you get to Area 2 is very open. Not open world, but like open-esque, where it's like there's a lot to explore, to the point where you'll get lost exploring that you can't even remember either how to get back to where you were or where you were at in the first place, like where you're going. It's that big. So it's not linear like people say. There are also a lot of enemies in the level. No, not all of them are super challenging. That's another negative I heard. Well, they're really pointless. They're not pointless. First of all, the game has a lot of things for you to unlock that really do improve your character and really improve your ability to beat the next boss, because it is also not like FromSoft, well, I should say most FromSoft games where, like I've said this before, if you get stuck on a boss, just grind, level up, get more powerful, go fight boss, beat the boss. This is, you can to a certain extent do that, but you can't. You're unlocking like attributes and special abilities, but some of them that you're unlocking are attached to increasing your health and stuff like that. But you can only do it to a certain amount. Like you can't just, if I'm making sense, you can't just keep increasing your health permanently. Like you can't stay in one level and just increase your health until you finally beat that boss. You're going to eventually run out of the ability to increase your level or your health. Does that make sense? Same thing with your attack power and stuff like that. So you can grind and get kind of OP. I did that at one level. I think it was level 3 or 4. I found through a video like a special way to not cheese the game, because it's actually designed that way for you to do it, but like basically help you grind faster. And I did that, and it helped me make the rest of the game easier. But what I wanted to share is that the entire experience is absolutely an amazing experience. It's very over the top. It's very beautiful. The combat is superb. The way you level up, some of the things that you unlock, like the different stances and stuff like that, are all fun to unlock. There's different armors with different special abilities attached to those armors that you unlock, or sets, I should say. Kind of like, think of like The Witcher. If you put an entire armor set on, you get special things that unlock. So one piece has this. Well, if you equip 3 pieces, you get this bonus.
Yeah, like tiered bonuses.
Yes, that's what I was trying to say. So there's bonuses attached to a lot of the armor. So there's like a ton of reasons I personally got hooked on it, and ended up putting like almost 70 hours into the game, and I probably beat 85 out of 91 or 92 bosses. So I only missed 5 or 6. I didn't go to New Game Plus, so I can always go back and fight them. And a lot of them are weaker. I could just probably one-shot them. Yeah, I just missed them, and I don't know how I did. But overall, the experience is great. So if you're looking for... I feel like this game's been mislabeled by a lot of people, because a lot of people are like, it's like God of War. Well, if you think you're going to play it and it's like God of War, and then you run into that wall of realizing there's no difficulty settings, and it's definitely hard because there is no difficult settings, then you're not going to get a God of War experience, because you're probably going to hit a wall. But again, like I said earlier from the top, saying it's a Souls game is not accurate either. It really is in the middle. If you're going to play it and you don't like Souls games because of how hard they are, 80% of the bosses you fight are going to be easy, but keep in mind that last 20% that I'm talking about, you're gonna hit a wall. I'm pretty good at these games, and I got frustrated with several bosses that were very difficult.
And that's what's kept me away from this game is that like the passing difficulty. It just sounds like I'm like, oh man, do I have the patience for something like that? And I like character action games, so it's like if it leans like Ninja Gaiden, Devil May Cry, with some like Soulsy type of stuff or whatever, like I could get into that.
I think you would like the game. I think it's one that, especially with all the games we have, it's not necessary for you to buy it now. Maybe either wait for it to become free on PlayStation Plus or something, or if you see it dirt cheap and you're like, you know what, even if I buy this and only play the prologue level and play nothing else, just to at least experience it, I won't feel like I got ripped off.
Yeah.
I think you'll enjoy it until maybe you hit a wall, and then it will come down to, do you like it enough that you're going to fight through that wall?
Put in the work, yeah.
Or are you just going to give up and move on? That's up to you. For me, these are my type of games, so I definitely hit a wall at the end of level 2. Basically, the last boss of almost every level was a wall. And anytime I hit him, I had to get to the place where I was like, no, I'm going to beat this game. And I did have to grind or fight through it. But overall, I gave it a 9.5 out of 10. This is an amazing game. I haven't done my Game of the Year yet list. Like, a lot of times I'll start doing a top 10 and start fitting stuff in. I haven't done that yet, but I have to say it has to be top 5, just off my head. So
it's hardcore on my like get it on a sale type of list right now, just because I am a little gun shy about its difficulty. But when I like a game, like Devil May Cry 5 gets hard. You got to push through that sometimes.
I played that on
Ninja Gaiden is notoriously hard, and I beat that game. So it's like I have the ability to push through stuff. I never get the call. Usually I get the call to quit. Like, go play Mario Kart. That's easier.
But it's also, again, it speaks to what we're kind of talking about tonight, and that's the more options you have, like more games you have, the quicker you're going to give up on games for the most part, unless it is a Kyle game, or it is a Derek game, or it is a Gaston game. This is a Derek game, so if it wasn't a Derek game, I quit. I do, and I move on to something else. But because this is a Derek game, I went, nope, I'm not quitting. And I had some of my, famous conversations with myself, and I talked to God a lot. I don't think he was happy with my language, but I talked to him a lot on some of these bosses. But overall, the experience is pretty amazing.
9.5 is high, man. Nothing to sneeze at.
Oh, yeah, it's an amazing game. Outlaws. I do want to talk this game because... first of all, it got shit on by a lot of people. I know Metacritic was fine. It's not terrible on Metacritic, but it still got made fun of a lot. There's a lot of Ubisoft haters, which I'm not here to defend Ubisoft like I used to. I have some serious issues with their stuff. And when I first booted up this game, I had some serious issues with it. Not that I thought it was bad. I've never thought it was bad, but I had issues with I was like, I don't understand. Maybe you felt this way, or maybe I'm on my own on this conversation. But when I first started stealthing, I didn't like the stealth that much, especially insta-fail. But I also didn't even like the animations of when I would stealth kill somebody or hurt somebody. The animations looked very generic, and I was like, this is supposed to be a AAA experience, and it looks like I'm not even hitting the person. I don't know if you felt the way I did, but it was extremely weird how they did a lot of the animations for your stealth kills and stuff like that. That all being said, and I'll let you answer, but that all being said, once I got past that and just started playing it like an Uncharted game, an open world, Star Wars, Uncharted freaking game, with just cool characters everywhere, fun mission types, and by the way, I'm overwhelmed by the amount of intel and missions I have.
You gotta
right now.
Right now I'm doing this. You have to make deals with yourself. We're just doing this right now. Don't get distracted.
Absolutely overwhelming. But I just want to say this because I'm about ready to go to you, and then Gaston, you can chime in as well. This game went from, man, what the hell is this shit, to, oh, okay, this is legit freaking good. I've gotten through the stuff I didn't like. Plus, I want to give them credit, too. The game just patched today. I booted it up today while I was at work. I was working. I booted it up and completely different experience. And here's what I mean.
They fixed like the insta-fail stuff. They fixed a lot of things today in the patch. Yeah, or whatever.
They did a hell of a job. And this is, again, I'm playing this mainly on, well, all the way on PC, although I have access on a PS5 as well. But I'm playing it on PC, and it's not ugly. It was never ugly, but it was very blurry. There was something off. I can't explain it, but there was something off. I booted it up today after the patch, completely different. Like, it looks no blurriness, no weirdness. It's called aliasing. There's no aliasing now. They've cleaned it up. It's extremely tight looking. It looks so good. It's smoother gameplay wise, and like you mentioned, fixing the stealth portion of it and the instant kill, which was the only thing that was like, I'm not going to call it infuriating because I never got to a point where I was like, I'm never playing this game again.
Yeah.
But there were parts, especially in the beginning, I was like, okay, this is kind of annoying. Like, you caught me? How did you catch me? But then this other time, I walked right in front of somebody and they didn't even notice me. I'm like, what? What's going on? But I said all this just to say I'm absolutely loving this game.
Oh, and that's amazing.
This is my focus. This is why I'm not playing Space Marine.
Oh, it's your okay.
Yeah, this is when I'm gaming, which I took this last week off from gaming. Today was the first time I gamed. When I'm gaming, it's Star Wars Outlaws. So, that being said, I love it. What's your thoughts? You being a huge Star Wars fan, I think you like Ubisoft games, or at least
I tolerate. I tolerate them. Yeah. I talked about this on the other podcast where it's like I play Assassin's Creed when they come out. You know, like I like The Division. I like Far Cry. So like, am I? Yeah, I guess I play all their franchises, so I might be a fan.
Yeah.
But I do catch myself being very critical of them. So yeah, I do. I'm like,
well,
why are they doing this? Or this
game's
40 hours too long, or whatever. You know, I have my critiques about a lot of these games. Valhalla won't end. You know, there's
that's a fair critique.
You know, I have to. You set it up fine, but like I have to get out and say, like, it's really easy for me to like a Star Wars thing. Like the whole world could hate something, I'd be like, yeah, I kind of like that. You know, like so like. My opinion will come from kind of a bias, like, you know, place or whatever. And I feel like that needs to be said. But I want to remind everybody when we were growing up, the types of Star Wars games we got. They were bad. They were all bad. You know, I always, you know, besides like Rogue Squadron and like maybe like, you know, Shadows of the Empire, which is a bad game that we just all like. I like that game a lot. It is a fucking awful video game. Plays like shit. Played like shit back then. Plays like shit today.
There was some good ones early on, like Dark Forces and stuff like that. But
Dark Forces
I think
is good.
it was like
I like the Jedi Academy games. Yeah,
yes,
but like
the 360 era is when we started getting better. Like
but there were a lot of really bad games, but I remember growing up being like, I want a Han Solo game where you're like doing the underworld stuff and that's what this game is, man. Like you're in it. You're in the underworld. You're dealing with all the big gangs. You're screwing people over while increasing your reputation with other people. The reputation system is very, very cool. Is it surface level? Yes. A lot of things about this game is surface level. It's just like, we have stealth. Is it good stealth? We have stealth. You know, like it's like, you can shoot in this game. Yeah, but is the shooting really good? You can shoot, you know, like there's nothing bad about any of it, but none of it's like amazing. Yes. You know what I mean? However, all these puzzle pieces, the ship, flying a ship, does it feel good? Yeah. Is it complicated? No, there's really nothing to it, you know? Shooting things, it's very odd, like it's almost auto-targeting and stuff like that. Like everything is just surface level. But all these surface levels ideas are in this gigantic sandbox. And there's so many toys to play with, you know? And again, you're talking about intel missions, you know? Like maybe you get a lead on a cool battery capacitor or something like that. Getting that is not this fruitless endeavor. When you get that thing, immediately Kay will be like, oh, I can make a new blaster part now or something like that. And now it becomes an integral part of your progression. So
now you're getting into why I'm hooked.
Nothing about this game is empty. Like when you find a treasure, there is a purpose for that thing. It's not Uncharted, and I love Uncharted, when Drake finds a piece of treasure and it's just like, it's like in your No. It's a currency that you get, and like you can use said currency to like upgrade things about your speeder bike, about your ship, about your this and that, and that is a perfect carrot on the string for me. So while all these other mechanics might feel shallow, the depths are elsewhere. The depths come in the way that the missions unlock. Hearing a conversation in a cantina, which by the way, cantina on every planet you go to, awesome. They're all cool. You walk in, they're vibey, they're cool. There's great music going on. There's seedy people saying Sabak. Sabak is awesome in this game.
I was gonna say the card game is good.
It's so easy. Like it's not like complicated. Like I hate every card game in every game. Like a Queen's Gambit can suck it. What is it? The Gwent? Fuck Gwent. I love The Witcher. Gwent can suck it. I just hate it. It's because I suck at these things. I know these are quality in-game card games.
And I won't take the time to learn them, except for which one from Final Fantasy VII? What did you just say?
Queen's Gambit, yeah.
I did get pretty good at that.
I got better.
I did but that's because the game forced me to, because they were like, you can't get past this chapter unless you learn how to play. And I was like,
but I'm like,
fucking asshole.
Play this game now.
Yeah, I was so mad at it.
And I did come around on that one, to be fair. Gwent, I will never like. I'm sorry. I know Gwent's so beloved. I hate that game so much. It is the blitzball of card games. Maybe nobody understands that reference. That's all right.
No, I do. Trust me, I know Blitzball.
Thanks, guys. All right. Thank you both. All right. But yeah, I like all the little components about this game are just amazing. And you are lost in this world. You know what I mean? And I just like how like the story is not overly complicated. It's a Star Wars-y story, It's like, hey, I just want to make a name for myself and I just want to live. And it's very Han Solo. You're making deals that your ass can't cash, You're screwing over people. Hey, I got all this money and I need to take back this thing, or I need to take this MacGuffin to this guy. Yeah, maybe I'll give it to their enemies, their mortal enemies, for twice the amount of money, And my other favorite thing about this game is, and the Jedi Survivor games do this as well, it doesn't rely on a lot of that character's here. You're going to be familiar with some characters, but this game has its own cast of brand new characters. Cast,
yeah.
And yeah, you're going to run into Jabba, which is not a spoiler. You see him in the trailer or whatever. Yeah, you're going to run into maybe some people you're like, "Oh my god, I know that thing," or whatever. Maybe you walk into the cantina on Tatooine, you're like, "Holy crap, Han Solo's blaster shot's right there. We're here. We're on the movie set, But the game doesn't rely on those cheap thrills. I think that those things are just kind of supplementary to the other cool things that are going on and that are unique to this specific game. And they're cool mission structures too. I got on a mission where some guy got abducted, or something got abducted, and this guy's like, "Hey, you need to go get it." And I had to leave the planet and go into space, only to find out that pirates stole the cargo. And I had to chase down the pirates by going to all the pirate space stations and questioning people if they've seen this particular pirate. And that led to a space battle, which led into landing on a planet, which led into chasing him on a speeder bike. And it's just you got every game mechanic in one mission. And I'm just like, and there was a side mission, and I'm like, this is great. I like this a lot,
Got a little bit of a Starfield vibe to it, as far as
it does.
How it's very open and factions.
Yep.
I love the factions. Like you said, is it surface level? Sure, it is. But there's some cool decisions, especially in the beginning of the game, where I'm like, I don't know who I want to side with, and then when I found out, if they don't like you, they immediately throw you out, or
you can't go into their areas. But if you are liked and you need to steal something from them, you can just walk right in. Yeah. So I just like that. There are tangible consequences to what's going on, even though they may not have a lot of depth.
I also want to give a shout out to, and a lot of people complained about her, the crowd that screams woke about everything. Kay Vess, her character design, she's a terrible character, and I wouldn't
bang her, so I hate her. That's what I hear a lot. I'm like, that's a weird.
First of all,
talk about banging a video game character. Why don't we chill out a little bit,
As a very perverted gamer, I do not find her unattractive. Is she a hottie? No, but she's like a poor J-Lo. It's that's how I see her. I'm she's got J-Lo's face, but my biggest thing that turns me off, this is just my personal thing is I'm like, can I please redo your hair? I just want to pull your hair behind your ears. I don't like how your hair
is very Star Wars, you know what I mean? 70s,
Yeah.
80s hair, you know what I mean? So like it's of the vibe, but yeah, so you know, am I loving a girl's haircut if I'm dating her and she's got that? No, you know.
No. But I do like her as a character. In the beginning,
She's very cool.
In the beginning, I was like, I'm not liking much about this game. I'm very disappointed about a lot of it. I had a negative attitude. And then as I keep playing it, I'm like, no, she's not as cringe as I thought she was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
She's actually fun. I like her little sidekick. I'm forgetting his name.
Nyx is the best, yeah.
Nyx. I love Nyx, and I love how they use him in the game. Like, there's so much stuff that Nyx can do. He is very, very helpful.
He is the stealth mechanic. So if you're like having a hard time stealthing, it's because you're not nixing enough. You know?
Use Nyx a lot. But even like in battle, like today I was playing and it was a quest where me and ND50, which I like him a lot, and he came and helped me on this quest that I told him not to help me. And it's because he finds out that these two parties are basically going to go have a big fight. And so I'm like, oh, I got to battle all these enemies. And as I'm fighting all these enemies, I utilize, again, it's not a big deal, but it was just cool to do. I realized I had used all my grenades. So I'm in the middle of fighting. So I don't have time. I can't even actually get to where I want to get to because there's so many enemies. I'm able to see a grenade and tell Nyx, go fetch it while I'm still shooting. He brings it over. I throw the grenade. Like little helpful things like that when you're in those shooting combat type situations. You can take cover. You can stealth. All of this stuff, like as you utilize all your tools. Again, like I want to echo Kyle. They don't do anything amazing, but they do it good enough that when you piece it all together and you get that full experience, and you're doing it in a Star Wars toolbox or sandbox, it's fun. It's a great game. And I'm not a Star Wars fanboy. I absolutely love Star Wars, let me say that, but I'm not a fanboy. Like, I'm not that guy you would go to that's going to know everything or harshly critique it because it doesn't live up to the Star Wars name. I'm just a guy that's just like, is it fun? Is it good? Does it have cool characters? I'm down, right? And this game so far has that. Like it's kind of like I said, I'm not saying it's Starfield. It's not Starfield. But it's almost
Starfield has so much more depth in this game in every way. Yeah.
It has Starfield vibes for me, and then on top of it, it's giving me that same Starfield feeling where it's like I had an immediate disappointment, and then as I kept playing it and kept getting smarter and kept getting better at the game and kept unlocking things, I started going, there's a lot of good depth here of fun. There's a lot of things to do to keep me very motivated to keep playing in this universe. And like you were saying, easily get distracted because I'm the type that's like, well, I want to make my character OP. So how do I unlock everything? And so that's where I get distracted.
Because the game does start really stealth heavy because like your character's not really good at like that, but like you do get to a place where you're like, I'm just gonna go into this place guns blazing. Like I'm that good now, you know. And they have the Red Dead Redemption like paint the target. You pull out your gun, shoot
that.
3 people. It feels so good.
I love it on the speeder and everything like that.
The speeder, yeah, you're just shooting the same way. Yep.
So I just really enjoy this game. I think it's gonna be my main until I beat it. I was gonna say until Dragon Age comes out, but that's forever from now. Until I beat it, and then I'll focus on these other games that we've been talking about tonight. But I just wanted to make sure I gave a shout out. Game's really good. I know it gets a lot of negativity from usually people that are outside Star Wars fans, but I don't think it's as bad as people say. I think modern gamers are a little. You must be a 9 out of 10 or you're bad.
Yeah, I agree. And like this game's never going to be a 9. You know, maybe it's a 9 in my heart. You know, but like it's a game that like might be reviewing where it actually is, like in the 7s, maybe high 7s area, just in terms of like kind of its more technical issues and stuff like that. But I will say it's an Ubisoft game. It will go on sale. If you're on the fence and you're just like beating yourself up about it, just wait. Like it will be on sale soon. You could pick it up for $20 off. It's so worth it. It's worth it at full price, but it'd be so worth it at like $50-$40, you know, like
Black Friday it'll be 40.
I think most people would be surprised with how competent of a game it is, especially if you got swept up in the negativity, which is easy to do. Like that tidal wave of negativity that crashes over all of us when we're online. It is easy to be like, oh, a lot of people are not liking this, you know. Yeah. Maybe I don't want to play this. You know, wait, yeah, it will be on sale soon. But I will say, it is hyperbole the amount of hate that it's getting, in my opinion.
Little excessive for sure.
Yep.
But yeah, it's definitely a solid game, and it's definitely worth playing. I want to ask you, Gaston, is this a game that you're interested in at all, or is it a down the road, or is it nah? I don't care.
Is a nah for me, like how
blocked. Hashtag blocked.
Like I say, if you wanted the smuggler Han Solo game, which is that's your game, I'm still waiting for my Imperial game. Like I'm still waiting for that game where I'm like a loyal Empire.
Yes, okay, sure, yeah, like a true baddie game, you know.
Yeah, because when they did Battlefront 2 to me, that was like the most backstabbing thing. Like I felt heartbroken when they did it to me. Like you promote a game as a villain, you told me I'm gonna be a villain, and then 3 minutes later I'm joining the rep. I'm like, we had that.
Oh,
like,
Battlefront 2, right? You're talking about the campaign.
Yeah, and like we have so many games where we're like, let me beat you, please. So Outlaw wasn't for me. It's a pass. I'm not big of a Ubisoft fan.
And that I can understand.
They're a particular flavor for sure.
Well, and they've just been around doing the same thing for a while. They are very copy and paste.
There are Ubisoft isms, you know, in all of their properties.
In the beginning, I fought people on that. Now, as the years go on, I'm like, yeah, I get it. Here, you ended up being right. You were a little dramatic in the beginning, but They are copying and pasting a lot of stuff. I do feel like this game, while it is still, you can tell it's a Ubi game. I still feel like it's trying to do more. And
you're not climbing towers. You're not unlocking things on your map. Like there's a little more organic nature to its storytelling and quest getting and item, you know, scounging and stuff like that. And this ain't a pro rebel game either. Like Kay gets her hands dirty. You know what I mean? Yeah. She's a scoundrel through and through. You know, she a bad guy? No, sadly not. You know, but there's a really cool reveal at the beginning where you're just like, I don't want to spoil too much, but you're like, dude, fuck these rebels, right? Like, fuck these guys, like, and like that is a feeling that permeates through that entire game. Is that she's kind of like anti-rebel, she's definitely anti-imp, you know. And I like that this game kind of leaves that kind of story behind because it's not a big focus or whatever, and tells a story about the underworld, which is like the side of Star Wars I want to see. You know, it's the side of Star Wars that Disney's afraid to show because we're family friendly and yada yada or whatever. You know, I want the dark underbelly. I want Jabba selling sex slaves, you know, and stuff like that. No, you don't get that stuff exactly in this, but it is a darker tone, you know, to some of the other stories that they could have told in this universe.
She is like I'm talking like her personality wise, she's like a female Nathan Drake.
Yes, yeah.
So she's out for her, and here's what I mean by it. She's out for her. She's about getting her money, about getting her where she wants to go in life, but she does it in a way that's almost like in a positive way. She's not out to like hurt anybody. She's not malicious. She's not evil like Kyle is saying. She's very likable. That's what I'm trying to say. Her personality is extremely likable. To the point where you're rooting for her and you're controlling her, obviously, but you're rooting for her and you want her to succeed. And so she's not dark or evil, but she's also not light. Yeah. Like you're not playing her going, oh, I can only make good choices. You can do dickish things. Like I had I'm not saying this is a major like decision. It's not. It's just like a minor one that plays out right away. But I just finished a mission where I could bribe a soldier, or I could pull my gun out on them and be like, "Fuck you! I'm not paying you money." And I chose to pull my gun out, and even the chick that was there with me was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, chill out!
This is escalating quick." Yeah.
Yeah, this is escalating quick. Why don't you go? And then when I left. In D50, he's like, "Hey, dude, are you the reason I'm getting all these like notifications that the Imperials are after somebody?" And she's like, "Yeah, I might have had something to do with that." So there was consequences to it. I imagine if I didn't pull my gun out and just paid the person, I don't leave the place and have to deal with that. Again, nothing significant major, but it's still a minor choice that allows me to dictate how she is.
Kind of makes it feel like your story, even though it is a binary choice, you know?
Which a good person doesn't just pull a gun out on somebody who hasn't pulled their gun out. You would just maybe mouth off or whatever, but you don't just go, "Hey, bitch," you know. And her in the beginning of the game, she's not that way. She's very, very clean. But as she's getting through this underworld and seeing how these characters
she's seeing
shady,
how you have to survive, you know, and
exactly.
she has to adapt, you know, some of those behaviors.
But she's seeing how shady people are.
She also has a really cool personality. Let's call it a quirk or whatever, like where she almost never understands what's going on, but she'll always play it off like she does. Like, "Hey, you need to get one of those like power couplings." She's like, "Yeah, power couplings. I definitely know what those are." And it's just snarky and sassy, and I like that kind of like character trait. And it's very scoundrel-esque, you know. It's very like, you know, Han Solo pretending like he knows it all, you know. It's very that's how it plays, and it's funny, you know. And there is a lot of comedy in this too. I feel like there's a lot of funny stuff with the ND5 droid, who's a cool Clone Wars era droid, which I'm just a big fan of. So a lot of fan service, but it doesn't lean on it, you know, like I was saying. And I just feel like if you're a Star Wars fan, it's a no-brainer. And I feel like if you thought that you needed more exploration from like the Jedi Survivor games or whatever, like this game gives you that. And even more than Jedi, the second one. Even it has even more than that, you know. And that game like really progressed, you know, in the way that it did that.
This is my Knights of the or not Knights of the Old Republic. This is my Dragon Age Star Wars.
You're finally getting your Dragon Age Star Wars game, So yeah, I think there are a lot of positives to it, you know. But I think that it's really easy for someone, and I'm not talking about just the hate brigade online, to pick up this game and play it and go, kind of like what you're saying. You're like, this is all. But once things open up and you get to that first world and stuff like that, you're like, oh, I see what the vision of this game is. And the first 4 hours maybe don't do a great job of showing you what the scope and vision of the game is. But when you get there, it does land, you know, in my opinion. And 4 hours is a lot to ask out of somebody. Like that's like saying, be like, "Hey man, you want to start this series? It gets really good in season 2. You just got to power through the first season." It's hard to pitch a game or a movie like that, you know, or a TV show. So, you know, like again, like I think mileage is going to vary on this one. But I think that it's pretty easy to get a lot of enjoyment out of this if you have a passing interest in Star Wars.
Yeah, I definitely do. It was one of my most hyped games after they showed stuff, and then I think that was why I was jarred by it. And again, I do like Ubisoft, so I have a positive
going
experience
in with a lot of
with their game.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was really excited for this game, and so when I first started, I was like, okay, this is not what I want. I'm not gonna bitch. Like I didn't make a post online or anything. I didn't make a post until I got far enough in. I think I was 9 hours in, and I was like, okay, I think I can point out the negatives while still I've come to the realization I like this game. And even now talking about it, and now I'm like 14 hours in, I like it even more than I did at 9 hours. So it just keeps progressing, and that's what I meant by Starfield. Like Starfield started out with, the hell is this? This is jarring. You didn't do what I wanted. Plus I had played Baldur's Gate 3 right before I went into Starfield.
It came out like in the same 30-day window, yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm like, what the hell are you doing? And then as I kept playing it, I kept going, I'm figuring out your systems, I'm figuring out what you're trying to do with this game, and I'm letting go of some of the things that I didn't feel like you did right, and I'm not making a big deal about those anymore, and now this game is really good, and that's how I feel about Star Wars Outlaws. It's just a really good game.
Yeah.
All right, before we wrap up, is there any other games or anything that we missed that you guys want to throw out, or any last comments or thoughts?
I've talked enough for a lifetime. Gaston, you got to be playing something else.
That'd be hype for Starfield Shatterspace.
You're getting ready for Shatterspace? Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna bring you, and Kyle, you're welcome to too. Please. I'm definitely gonna bring you back on when that DLC launches, and we'll have to deep dive not only into the DLC, but have a deeper conversation about even Starfield, since I've never had that with you guys on here. Well, I've talked to Kyle about it, but you know what I mean. So, great conversation. I know we went a little long, and if people did actually make it to 3 hours, I hope you were entertained. But I knew going into this we had a lot to cover, and I wanted to just do it. I didn't care if we went a little long. There's a lot of great games out there, guys. Everything we covered a lot of different genres, is very good, and I appreciate you guys listening, and good night. And if I can find the record button, maybe I can stop recording.